Welcome into the Hollow Podcast, episode 10. We've got some fresh faces in here, one being Richard, who we haven't seen in a while, and the other being Johnny Wood Jr., also known as the most recent winner from the Butt Kicker Cup Series. So big shout out there off the bat. Johnny, we're going to get started with you. How are you doing tonight?
Oh man, yeah, perfect software. You know, everything was going great. Figured out how to get this thing loaded up. A lot harder than most people, make it out to be. Pretty difficult.
I will say this, Johnny is not very computer savvy. I had to walk him through how to save his paint files on his computer and then how to upload them properly onto Trading Paints one night. So
Yep, I am not a computer person. I can just drive. That's it.
that's true.
He's a boomer. Well, thank you for joining us tonight, Johnny. And the other one who I have not mentioned is Carl, who is fighting for his life for a playoff spot. Carl, how are you doing tonight?
Fighting for my life for a playoff spot it kind of sums up everything right now. Three races, three chances to score some points and get myself in front of the other guys. That's all I'm thinking about right now.
That is what you should be thinking about. You only got 3 races to do it. And then you got the other side of the coin. You got Richard, who is just barely on the other side of the cut line by the skin of his teeth. How are you doing, Richard?
I'm doing good. It's good to be back doing the podcast. I really do miss doing this with y'all. Just so happened to be last week was the Powder Puff Takeover, and the week before that was the Rolex 24, which I missed y'all, but trust me, being at Daytona is like being at the home away from home and seeing cars on track for, probably 12 hours straight was a fantastic experience. And that was just Thursday, not including Saturday and Sunday and then Friday also. So, but not doing good. Glad to be back. I have fun hanging out with you all every Thursday evening on top of Tuesday. So,
Yeah, super jealous of the Daytona trip that you got to have. But last week was a really good break, I think, for all of us a little bit. And then with the podcast and the race, and we can cover the race real quick. I think that's where we should start, honestly, is the whole Powder Puff Takeover podcast and race. Obviously want to get everyone's thoughts in chat. I think overall it seemed like both were big hits. The podcast was funny, it was off the rails, and then the race was honestly good racing at times. It was entertaining, and I wanted to thank Richard and Carl and Robert as well for producing, but Richard and Carl for taking the reins with their previous broadcast experience and really doing a great job. So it was a lot of fun to do.
it was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed doing it. Got to watch, be able to actually cast it this time, unlike last season where we had a little snafu with the scheduling there. But Steven, yourself, you did pretty good as well. It was really, really fun having you in the booth, 3 of us in the booth, actually having some fun announcing our wives and significant others out there on the track. It was a lot of fun. It was definitely an interesting experience. And I hope everybody that got a chance to watch it really enjoyed both the podcast and the race. I know I did. I've actually watched the podcast probably 2 times now because of it's just ridiculous. It's just unhinged fun between all 4 of them, and it was just great. So,
Well, and that's funny because my parents were listening to the podcast right before the race started, and they watched the podcast, and my dad was even cracking up. The race goes through, and obviously commentating. You can hear the baby in the background because I was on the baby duty, so I was trying to make sure that the baby was fed and clothed and everything else. So I'm bouncing out and in and out, and Richard doesn't know what's going on. Steven's trying to coach how to sit. It kind of the whole vibe kind of stuck with the whole weekend there between Thursday and Friday, and it sounds like everyone wants us to do it again. So I think we should, and I think it's gonna be a big thing because my mom called me afterwards saying, you know what, I didn't know that you could do this. I don't know if I want to help you with the baby or go drive. I don't know what to do. So it was everyone seemed to have a good time, especially watching it.
Awesome to hear that she wants to get involved with it. And I'm hoping next year, because we'll definitely do it again next season, and we'll be a little bit more prepared. I think this season was we really got full force experience, and we know what to expect more for next season. And hopefully we just get more girls to show up and drive. I think is the one thing we can really improve on. At the end of the day, you can only race so much with 5 cars on a 1.5 mile track. It's kind of a situation that we had as a league not too long ago with 10, 15 cars at times. It was just like there's not a lot of racing going on. So if we can see some growth there, that'd be awesome. But overall, I think it was a lot of fun.
Well, I think next season I'm going to potentially work it out, but I might have 2 driving in the same house for it. If we can schedule it right, I'm actually going to get a second account if it's
And you're
free
rich,
car and
rich.
track. I'm going to have my daughter race alongside with Riley.
All
So
right.
I think
Well,
that'll be
hey.
a lot of fun watching on my side for sure.
We're up to 6 at least now.
Well,
But
you know,
no.
we did have what 15 signed up, so
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned. Like, come on, it's not
Uh,
like it was a last
Well,
minute thing.
there was a few people that said after it they kind of wish they would have done it. So whether it was scheduling thing or whether it was just they were a little too nervous or whatever to get out there and do it, at least the interest is now reignited with those that wish they would have actually participated. So I feel in season 4 that powder puff race is going to be a lot bigger than what we've had the past 2.
I hope so, and that we're gonna have to figure out a date for that because those that don't really know, I guess only the admin team at this point knows that we've been working on the season 4 schedule, and it's pretty much buckled up. Just getting some last minute dates in there and some things on the back end, but that will be coming out for the end of the playoffs. It's going to be a little bit until we even say anything on it, but we're going to get that powder puff scheduled out as well to make sure it's far in advance and we can get everyone signed up and actually ready for it this time around. But super happy with how it turned out. But on to Tuesday racing. So the Buckyarker Cup Series, that is. We raced at Darlington this week, and Johnny, you got your first win of the season. I feel like it's a little long overdue, if you ask me. Take us through your race and what went through the whole thing for you.
Yeah, I mean, after Pocono, it was like, man, I got to get one of these. I mean, it was coming. So I worked hard on Pocono, just couldn't get it, with the situation at the end there. So I was like, you know what? Darlington's a, all drivers racetrack. So just went to town on testing. I think I shared a couple tips with both of you on the reset button, the instant like reset.
Active
Man,
reset.
dude, I mean, it's so convenient. I got it registered as a space bar, and you just tap the wall, and you're like, normally you would reset or you run your tires about 10 laps in, and you're like, oh, now I got to reset. And you hit the pits, come out pit road, all that. Now you hit the space bar, boom, in and out. You're registered right where you were, right?
That's cool.
And I just
Did you not know about
Yeah.
that, Steven? Yeah,
No.
it's a really cool and real quick, Johnny, for everybody watching, active reset is a function in iRacing that a lot of people don't know about. You can actually set a point on the track as the start point, and then you can run like whatever turns you want to run, or even just keep doing laps if you want to. And you can save time, like Johnny was saying. Instead of pitting, you just hit your reset button that you have programmed, and it will take you right back to that start position. And then you press the go button and you're back to going full speed. You don't have to pit. So it is a fantastic function. I suggest everybody try it out, especially for road course racing practice.
Awesome.
Yep. So we just ran the practice race on Monday, and I think I qualified up front, and I think I won the first stage. And I was like, I think I told Richard and Carl there, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try to stay back a little bit, pit, hold myself, and then see what Dirty Air does to me. And yeah, Dirty Air is a killer at Darlington for sure. And if anybody wants to throw a slight aero block, man, it's you got to be at least 2-3 tenths faster to make the pass to get around them. So I knew that it was a qualify up front and stay up front kind of situation. So that's what it was. So it was almost an ass cutting, but Isaiah, he was there. He had a good strategy, and I was like, oh no, please.
So
Don't do
what
this to
was
me,
the differing
Isaiah.
strategy there at the end that got Isaiah the lead? What did he go in a little bit earlier?
Yeah, so I think he went in 5 laps, maybe 4 laps early, and then he took 2, and he just went
Mm,
out and tried to pass all the many people as he could, lap traffic or whatnot. But I was kind of waiting on a caution, but with how I guess iRacing was registering the cautions and like where it picked up what was a caution and what was not, I didn't really get it. But thanks, Zach. I think it was Zachary Maddox, my boy. Send me your Venmo. I'll send you
Yeah.
$1 or 2 on
A
that one.
dollar or two.
I don't
My
know.
boy.
There were definitely some. All I'm gonna say is there were some thoughts about that incident. I really don't want to get too deep into that right now because it's just pure
Great.
speculation at this point. It was just interesting.
Was his
Um,
hand hot? He pulled a
I
who was it? Clint Boyer.
I want to be able to pull the driver comms for that, get into their team chat and just be able to hear it. But
I left over and joined that chat.
yeah. But either way, like you said, there were a couple incidents throughout the whole night that didn't trigger a caution. I think 2 off the top of my mind where Patrick Hernandez got in with somebody and got turned down into the wall
Dustin
on the
Stallings.
backstretch. Was it Dustin?
Mhm.
Another one of the Maverick guys. No.
Oh, brother.
And then the other one was Matt Catania and our friend Nick Renner.
Oh man.
Um,
That I am really shocked that one actually wasn't a caution.
Yeah,
That
because
was-
he was down there for a minute.
He was
yeah,
fast.
there were a lot of fast guys, and I thought you'd bring up a good point, Johnny, of the dirty air, especially at Darlington. It was an absolute killer. I remember in the practice race on Monday night, I had caught up to you and Isaiah, and I was on fresher tires at that point. And once I got up to y'all, I just completely stalled out, and the tires heated up, and it was over from there.
That's what I did when I caught Isaiah on like lap 177. It got to about a second and a quarter, and it was like either I just killed him or like killed the tires, or
Mhm.
I just got so close that I couldn't do anything. Couldn't get a run.
And I mean, the way 1 and 2 is, correct me if y'all think different, but I don't think there's many ways you can take 1 and 2, especially when your tires are wearing out. 3 and 4, you have a little bit more options, but 1 and 2 is pretty one-laned.
Yeah, for the most part, it's really that exit out of 2 is what kind of makes it the one lane because if you're side by side on 2, someone's washing up into somebody more than likely. So, I mean, the only way I really saw anybody running 1 and 2 is like you throw it in the bottom of 1 there, kind of slide up to the wall, run the wall, then you dive off turn 2 and make the run down the backstretch. And that's really the only successful line I saw. So, I mean, even 3 and 4 though, I didn't see much of a different line that gained time. I mean, depending on how you saved your tires or whatnot later in the run, the inside could make something happen. But I mean, even so, it's a really hard track to pass.
Mm-hmm.
A
I had
terrible track.
forgotten how difficult it was to pass. I didn't think, but when we last ran Darlington, I think it was in season 1. Adam ran away with it, and there wasn't passing, there weren't cautions, there weren't anything. We just got really spread out, and it was that for the whole race. But it is a really fun track to drive by yourself if you're not around other cars, and I think Carl can attest to that. Carl, take us through what happened to you on lap 1.
Oh no.
Yeah, exit of 4 in lap 1. Someone was spinning, and I think it was the 13 of Cole Younger was right in front. Got on the brakes. It was a little early, but he didn't want to, get into a wreck or anything because I qualified terribly. I hit the wall on my second lap, so I qualified 23rd. So already I knew I had a rough day
Tough at
ahead of me.
Darlington.
Exactly. So I already knew. So it's like I'm just gonna settle in. I'm just gonna watch out, do my thing, stay in some lines, and take my passes when I can. And I was a checkup, and boom. And I didn't think nothing of it. I got a 4x, but I didn't. But next thing I know, I'm falling back, and we're talking. This is 2 laps in. Like I am just dropping back. What the hell's going on? Then a couple minutes later, my crew chief comes over the radio and says, "Hey, watch your water temps are a little high." I was running anywhere between 235 and 245 for water temps for really almost all of stage one. So I didn't have any downforce, so I was pushing like a mother. Didn't have enough cooling, so I had to be careful on that too. And then at the end, we came in stage one. I found I had 5 minutes of damage after that first stage. I said, okay, I'll get some of it repaired. So I got like 45 seconds of it repaired. Missed the start because the cautions were so quick. They were just really ticking off those caution laps. By the time I went 2 laps down and I saw Johnny in my mirrors, because he was like, "Oh no, Carl, not again." I was like, "Yeah, I know." So at that point, I was like, "Screw it, I'm a weapon. I'm not doing anything out here." I came in. I actually went 12 laps down to get all my damage repaired. I was racing around the top 15, so I feel like I could have done okay here. But just to have issues lap one, just not the way I wanted to go. But I don't like this track. I don't like driving this track. I don't like watching this track. This is one of those tracks where I think they should just put a gate around it and say, "Hey, here's a museum of NASCAR's origins," and call it a day. I'm not a fan of Darlington at all.
I will say, Carl, usually I don't mind watching Darlington. It's generally a pretty decent race, but last year Steve and Johnny and myself were actually with Gavin. We're at the September race for Labor Day weekend, and it was a very long green flag run race. There was not really anything to happen till probably the last 50 laps when a few wrecks started happening, and then
exciting.
And then what got exciting was basically the playoff picture because Kyle Busch was chasing down what's his name? Who was he chasing down?
Chase Briscoe.
Chasing Chase Briscoe down for the last little bit of the race. So yeah, the very middle of the race in real life was really boring also. So it is definitely, like Johnny said, it is a driver's track. It is it was I know, Carl, you kind of surprised me at the end of the race when you said I actually had the fastest lap of the race, which I scored on lap 8, which kind of took me by surprise. I did not realize I did that. But I could be fast. I couldn't save tires worth a snot. I didn't know what I was doing wrong. I didn't know what I was doing right. So it's definitely a track you need to save tires. And it's one thing I am still working on. And that track needs a lot of it.
I was going to say, if you had the fastest lap, it sounded like you were burning up your tires.
Again, it was an accident. I didn't mean to drive that fast. I didn't feel like I was running it hard and fast at that point because I was trying to stay up with the people in front of me, and it's just I really don't know. It is what it is, I guess.
I feel like it's just one of those tracks you have to just be really patient the whole run. You can't really force anything unless it's late in the race, and you kind of have to make a move like we saw Chase Briscoe make in real life last year. He took it 3 wide going into 3, and other than that, you're just following people and waiting for the right opportunity for them to maybe hit the wall coming out of 2 or touch the wall somewhere, and that gives you your chance to make a pass. Otherwise, you're just destroying your stuff, it seems like. But then again, with Johnny being leading, what was that, 156 laps, you had the clean air almost all the race, so it must have been a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was fun being up there with the clean air. But lap traffic was man, they thought they were Ryan Newman or something. Like, yeah.
Was there anyone specific that was harder to lap than others?
Yes.
It wasn't even hesitation. It was just yes.
Yes, I'll save that for the for later.
For this segment?
Yes. Yep. Hopefully they're watching.
Oh boy, I can't wait for that. Well, I'm going to go through some stats real quick this race. Ended up being 183 laps. We had 5 different leaders, 5 lead changes, and a total of 4 cautions, 2 for incident. I'm going to be honest, I don't remember the other caution for incident besides the one at the end.
No, there was one right about 10 laps into stage 3, I think.
Yeah, I know there was one early right after stage 3 started because that's when I made a not smart decision in trying to fuel save because there was only 2 lap difference from the end of what my fuel was to the end of the race. So I tried.
Yeah,
It
fuel
clearly
fuel
failed because people decided to short pit instead of run the fuel out to the end. I need to realize people aren't
Hey.
going to not short pit.
Adam done that. What it can't. When was it? When did he do that in one of the practice races?
Chicagoland,
Yeah.
maybe.
Hey, yeah, you never know. It could have been a hero, you know.
Richard Hero, same sentence.
Hey,
I guess our standards aren't high here.
No.
I mean, I do want to comment on. It's been 3 races now since we changed to no fast repairs. I think the general consensus is it's actually really cleaned everything up. For the most part, the on track product, and now we don't have anything to get mad at each other for on track issues, so we resort to other stuff in the Discord. But I mean, what are y'all's takeaways thus far 3 weeks in? I mean, it's going to get different next week at Daytona. We might have a different opinion, but so far.
I thought it was going to be like that at Darlington, like having no fast repairs. But I mean, you know,
It was
good
night and
job to
day from the
everybody.
practice race to the actual race.
It definitely was. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I was one of those people that didn't want to take away the fast repair. But and I've had a lot of people suggest that remove the fast repair. It's going to clean everything up, and I did not expect how quickly the racing and my camera just froze. That's cool. But I didn't expect how quickly that was going to fix. Because it was night and day difference from the moment we removed it to like the next race. It just people stopped driving beyond their means or their skill basically, and it just kind of taking it easy and staying off each other. And it's good to see. It's good to see we're finally getting some really long green flag runs in, and it's making the racing a lot more fun. So finally can start learning how to save tires again versus just run it hard. And I know we're going to get a caution in about 10 laps, so who cares at that point. But at Darlington, it kind of stunk without a fast repair because, I mean, how many cars, almost every caution we had between the stages were in getting repairs. I mean, I know I had damage still at the end of the race and I was still trying to get the repairs done. So that's just the product of, the lady in black. She bites you and it hurts and you just got to get that damage repaired. But without that fast repair, you're kind of waiting. And it actually it made some really weird, confusing restarts also because of how quick the caution laps like ticked away.
Yeah, those caution laps were really quick. Right after going into pit, if you're on the lead lap and then coming straight to the choose, sometimes you couldn't even catch up to the field in time to choose. I didn't expect it to be that quick, but
yeah, I would run into the pits as quick as I could, and second and third was like trying to get to my bumper, and I would get about 2 cars, by doing that.
it was definitely different. I'm just reading chat here.
Carl, what's your take on the fast repair? We didn't have a real word on it.
Oh man,
He's
my
wishing
word's
we
not
had it.
valid.
That's for sure.
Even with it, I still didn't have any luck. So honestly, just kind of nothing really changed for me because one way or the other, I was going to have a similar result. Darlington, I said I wanted to finish. Now, yes, I did technically finish. I didn't want to be 12 laps, 13 laps down, but I did finish. So at least there's that. But it just, I don't know. And I think we went over the replay in the cockpit. I didn't think like it was going to cave in my bumper like it did. So, I mean, I'm out here thinking, okay, maybe I have a little bit of damage. So I'm not worried too much, and I come in with 5 minutes of damage. So it's one of those situations where it would have been nice to come out, swing around. I would have started at the back, would have had my fast repair, got back into it, and at least maybe try to set myself up for a good finish. But I think overall, yeah, I'm sad to see it go because I did benefit, but at the same time, it wasn't as big of a benefit with the amount of incidents and all the cautions we were having. The odds are you're going to get caught up in something, so you're going to suck up a fast repair one way or the other.
And we'll see what everyone's general thoughts are next week after Daytona, and wanting to have that fast repair back because that's really going to drastically change, I think, how most people drive super speedways, probably for the better. It won't prevent us from having a last lap.
I mean, it could elevate everybody's skill base.
Yeah, they're aware of it
Yeah.
for sure.
I mean, look
You're
how
going
Atlanta went.
away.
Yeah, but we had
Well,
the fast
not have
repair.
them in
we did have
Atlanta.
a fast repair.
Yeah.
And it is Atlanta. I mean, Daytona at the end of the day is easier to drive than Atlanta Super Speedway is, just because Atlanta's a lot closer quarters. But it's just gonna take people giving room.
Now, I will say, since the damage update, when they added the whole you could damage the car so much to where you can't go back out on track thing,
Terrible.
it is terrible. I hate that. But there's something else that I haven't heard lately from all the damage is we can't repair all the damage. Every time I've gone into pit, they're like, all the damage is repairable. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Since when did all aero damage get fully fixable in the cup cars? Because that's never been a thing.
It might have been what they reverted back to when they made that change of if you can't fix everything, they just won't even fix it. Because I mean, Jared had that issue the first race we had without fast repair at
I don't know
Chicago.
what you're talking about.
Yeah, the
I don't know
one
what you're talking about.
where the 56 came flying in at 180.
Who's the 56?
Yeah, I
What
don't know,
a
it's right above your name.
Heck. What? Hey, that's not right.
Oh,
Change that number. Change that number.
I don't know. It's a limitless thing. But
Ooh,
real quick,
wow.
we'll run
Oh,
through the
Johnny
top
just
10.
gave you a look also.
Well,
Them
hang on.
little knees
I ain't
be
worried.
trying to talk words, man.
I ain't worried. Hey, Next Level is the only team with all of his drivers in the playoffs as of right now. So
Hey, we only have one that's not in so far.
I mean, that's
Ouch.
still one. But real quick, top 10 from this past week at Darlington for the Mertes Racing 250 was Johnny Wood Jr. bringing it home in first, Isaiah Sutherland second, Adam Buzzio third, myself fourth, Gray Walker fifth, Dustin Stalling sixth, Jamie Plord with a good run, and he's trying to get that last playoff spot in seventh. Jared Hughes eighth, Evan Patinko ninth, and Scott Fritz 10th. Oh boy, oh boy. Meatball of the week. So we didn't do a meatball of the week last week because obviously we had a Powder Puff podcast. Trying to even remember where we were. Pocono, it was.
Yeah.
Right? Yes. Do y'all want to do a meatball of the week for Pocono? Can you even think of one off the top of your head? If
I
not,
think
can
we
just
only had
completely skip it.
one caution, I think, for incident, if I remember correctly.
The race feels so long ago. I don't remember it honestly. I do remember the finish, but that's about it.
Yeah, the finish was wild.
It was my
Man,
second top 10 of the season. Huzzah.
You know what, I'll throw a meatball out there. I'm gonna say he got up into Zachary Maddox coming out of turn 3. Yeah, Zachary Maddox got a little loose, but it just kind of looked like Scott Fritz, or was it Selby? Was it Selby or Fritz?
Well, Selby, I think Selby had a tie up with Nick, and Fritz had an issue with Zach.
Okay, so yeah, it was Fritz, and he just looked like he just kept driving up into Zachary Maddox, which spun them both down. Zachary Maddox ended up hitting the inside wall just before pit entrance, but Scott Fritz just completely clobbered those barrels in the pit road, and it was violent looking, that's for sure. So I'd have to get it to Scott Fritz in that one.
Well, there you go. Carl, do you have one? I'm just giving mine to Zach because Andrew says so.
Oh, we have it backwards. Selby took out Maddox. Fritz took out
Was it?
Renner.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So Selby would have been mine.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, at least be care enough to try and remember it, Zach. Come on, get
Yeah,
credit for that. You
My
know.
camera just shut off again.
Well,
Volume
actually,
is not liking me.
Actually, I'm gonna take the other one. Then I'll put Scott Fritz for the same incident. It's like, and I think it's again, these guys are from the dirt background. You're used to have a little more space, or at least the closing rates are different. It's interesting that they had two kind of really close. It looks like you're trying to side draft, and yes, that's okay, but you got to learn where to kind of back off and let the other car run its race because he's up at the wall. we're actually going to have to really get used to that come Tuesday with Daytona. If we're running 3 wide, hey, you can't go any higher. There's a wall up there, so we've got to give some space. Even when trying to do that side draft, I have a feeling we're going to see some incidents coming this upcoming week, especially if he gets single file.
Adam calling out
Yeah,
Steven and his
didn't
typing
realize.
ability.
Sorry, the monitor I'm typing on is like 10 feet away from me, so it's kind of hard to see sometimes.
Scott for Tiz. Scott for Tiz.
Johnny, do you have a meatball from Pocono?
I mean, I can't really think of one. I mean, there's the only 2 interactions that I had that was, it ain't meatball worthy, but
I mean, you can just give it to Zach King if you really want.
I don't even think he does.
Or sorry, Jake Peralta.
Jake Peralta. Oh my god. That's a shout out from last week.
Well,
I can't.
We'll do a
can't really
meatball for
think of
this
one.
week. And
Yeah.
Johnny, since you're the guest and you already brought it up earlier, who is your meatball for this past week?
I mean, I'd say Coulter Clark with the Ryan Newman the Ryan Newman car scheme, or I don't know. He was, if I wasn't leading the race, I probably would have wrecked him. But I was leading the race and I was trying to get around everybody as quick as I could, and he was like, I don't know if he was blocking. I don't know. He might have been like 1 or 2 laps down. I can't remember how many laps he was down, but or I don't know how many laps, but yeah, I'd have to give it to him.
I think Jared would agree with you. I remember seeing, I think Jared was trying to lap Coulter as well, and he came up into him in 3 and 4 and scared him and blocked him, basically, kind of thing. So he does make it difficult to pass, that's for sure.
Yeah. I don't know if it was just like the speed difference on some of these lap cars, which I think it was, because like the closing rate getting in some of these corners, on new and old tires, you can't really, once they set the car, they can't really, turn down, or, when your tires are 40 laps old. But Coulter was the only obvious one that just kind of wouldn't give you the drive off. He would just stay on your right rear all the way down the straightaway, and then stay on your right rear, getting in the corner, and you're like, bro, just come on, man.
So we
Please.
get netcode incidents to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I mean, they have the right to race, like all of us. So
Very true. And Carl, we'll go to you next on your meatball.
Oh man. Actually, this is I give this meatball in pleasure, because it means that there's a crack in this He-Man of Mason Houseman getting a pit penalty on green flag stops. I don't know if it was speeding or improper pitting, pit entry. But I definitely am going to give it to Mason Houseman because, yes, he has 3 wins, but you got to be careful. We're getting into the playoffs. You make mistakes like that, especially later on, and you're dying for points, that'll definitely hurt you. So I think Mason Houseman's got to be a little more careful on pit road.
I mean, it's interesting that you say that. Mason still ended up with more race points than the drivers who finished 3rd and 4th.
Well, he did very good in the stages.
Yes.
So but again, come down the stretch, who knows? Because look who Mason is racing. We have Johnny Wood. He's up there in the top of points. Isaiah. We got Isaiah up there. We have yourself, Steven. I think you're P2. So honestly, when it comes down to the playoffs, I think the driver that makes the least mistakes will take it, and that is a mistake you got to keep an eye out for.
That's true. Richard, are you
Unsafe
still with
pit
us
entry
here?
confirmed by
I am
Maverick
still with us,
Motorsports.
yeah. Just my camera keeps wanting to shut off randomly, so that's awesome.
Gotcha. I just wanted to make sure that you are still here and ready to pick your meatball because I'm still deliberating in my head.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, there was a lot of, I don't know, not necessarily overall mistakes, but I'm gonna have to give it to Nick Renner. Not out of spite or like hate you or anything. It's just he drove into my rear end twice throughout the race. Both of them could have easily been prevented just by slowing down a little bit more. It was unfortunate because the first time he did it, it kind of damaged my rear end, and I think that's what helped not make my car balanced, and that's what was burning my tires up off the start, and I couldn't really get into a rhythm after that. And then he did it again later, pinched me up against the wall, and I think that caused some damage as well. So but that's it. Just Nick Renner for driving into the quarter panel and the side of the car twice.
That's fair. Nick definitely does not give a lot of room out when he's racing. It seems like most of the time, but I know you're here, Nick. I still love you.
Silent.
Meatball, I have so many things going in my head, and honestly, it's going to sound like I'm picking on some people here, but I think of multiple different times with Maverick drivers. Started off with Mason and I into turn 2, broke my toe link. Later in the race, Mason got into my bumper and turned me down the track a little bit. There was a whole deal I had with Brendan, with some Richard-like blocks that were.
What are you talking about?
You know what a Richard type block is. But I think I have to give it to Zachary Maddox. And it wasn't because of personal reason or issue I had with him. But it was just the caution at the end of the race with 3 to go or whatever it was. It just looked like a kind of incident that could have been savable, if not savable at the time of spin, at least preventable from getting a caution out, I think was my biggest thing. Of you spin down to the inside of the track at Darlington, keep it down there and slowly get back on the gas and work your way back up, as opposed to getting on the gas and coming right back up into traffic to where caution comes out. It's just one of those things where it kind of changes the outcome of the race and the long green run that we had. So Zachary Maddox is my meatball this week.
That's a fair pick. I guess we'll talk about it now. That accident did seem a little odd for sure, because I mean, it just kind of looked like after he got a little loose out of the turn, he just kept turning left. So it was definitely a strange one.
Spin Gate 2025.
Spin Gate 25.
Oh, and it's only February. Great, guys. Good job.
I had a weird feeling in my stomach when that caution came out that there was something more about it. Just the timing of it and how he hadn't had one. And then I had seen his car in the middle of the front stretch soon after the caution came out, and talked to some guys about it at the moment, and no intent was determined. But then reviewing it after the race, I thought about some more questions on my own. So yeah, there's a lot to debate there, but it's really hard to prove anything against it. But with that, would y'all like to get into the standings?
Ooh, why not?
Ooh. Yeah, because I think I'm above Steven now.
You are. Unfortunately, I did fall back a little bit. So we got our new standings graphics here, and you'll see one name highlighted in green, and that is Mason Houseman. He has officially locked himself into the chase or the playoffs, whatever you want to call it, with only 3 races left. Johnny Wood Jr. is your new second place holder, followed by myself, Isaiah. We're kind of on our own island with a 50-point gap between Isaiah and Adam, and then it's kind of Adam, Dustin, and Gray on their own island, and then it's a little bit messier after that. Got Brendan, Jared, Matthew Catania, Richard, yourself, and Dakota Camper round out your top 12. Richard, you are only 9 points above the cutoff from Jake Peralta. How do you feel with 3 races left, especially Daytona being one of those?
Well, y'all kind of made me mad 2 weeks ago. So 2 weeks ago, y'all had a little thing when I wasn't there stating who was going to fall out of the chase. And even my teammate picked my name,
Dun, dun, dun.
Carl Pooler. you kind of lit a fire under my my butt there, and no, I'm not overly comfortable being that close to the cut line, but I'm also happy to still be in the chase. So I mean, we've got two interesting races coming up back to back. Daytona, which I generally have pretty good days at until the end generally. IRP is a complete unknown for me and for a lot of us. It's I don't know how that's going to play out. But I know Michigan, Carl and I have very fond memories of.
Same here.
Bittersweet.
Bittersweet memories of. But that one is generally a pretty safe race for me as well. So I'm feeling comfortable still considering the last three races we have left. But I mean, again, without a fast repair, anything can change.
Anything can change indeed, and that that battle for the last spot or last two spots, and I mean, realistically, there are still more than just two spots up for grabs. Daytona is really going to paint us a clearer picture, I think, after Daytona. Maybe IRP too, but I think once we head into Michigan, we'll know really who has a chance and who doesn't. But you have five drivers within 25 points. That being Jake Peralta, Scott Fritz, Evan Patinko, Carl Pooler, and Jamie Plord. And I'm gonna be honest right now, no offense, Carl, but right now, out of those guys, Jamie Plord is on a hot streak, I think, and he's on a mission to get his way back up to that top 12 after a tough start to the season.
With Scott Fritz and Evan Patinko both finishing in the top 10 last week too, that didn't hurt my that didn't help my chase chances either. So I'm thinking Daytona, IRP, Michigan. Daytona's a wild card. IRP is a short track, so who knows who's going to get the bumper there. And then Michigan, I've always really liked Michigan, especially once you figure out how to save the tire a little bit. You can really do a lot there at Michigan, so I think I can do that a little bit better. But I feel like if I'm going to have a shot at it, I need stage points, probably every stage. So the next 6 stages, and I need to finish in the top 10. I cannot have another mistake. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I think the real focus is to make sure you do finish each race, and not being laps down. Because I mean, even at Darlington, if like you said, you were running top 15 speed wise, if you had top 15 right now, you'd be right on that cut with Dakota Camper and your teammate Richard.
Because that would have been an extra 10 points or so. So yeah, I would be, man, gorgeous position right there.
It would be very interesting. And I mean, I've got to give credit to Zachary King, Jake Peralta, for being 1 point back at this point.
Is that a thing now?
That is a thing now. Jake Peralta is the thing. But I mean, we talked
Benny
about
Hahn over here hosting us.
I know, Benny Hahn over here talking about Jake Peralta.
After week 1, and Zach getting his first win, I think we all kind of like, okay, that's a great story, but let's move on with the season. But to his credit, he stuck around points wise, and happy for him to at least be there and have a chance at it. So interesting. I would have not expected that at the beginning of the season.
Well, and he's made that win count for him. I think this is either the first or second week he's actually been out of the chase all season long. So there's something there.
And he's not out of it yet because if you don't know, super speedways are his bread and butter. He'll throw a Richard block on you.
Who would?
Jake Peralta.
Oh, I wouldn't necessarily say it's his bread and butter, but yes.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Jamie Plord. Jamie Plord finishing in the top 10 too. I know his name is mentioned. Yeah, in 7th place. So yeah, even I don't feel I'm battling about a half dozen guys right now. Honestly, I feel like I'm battling a half dozen guys for a spot or two, which is it's not a good feeling.
Richard. Like,
yeah,
how do you go into the races knowing that a mess up from Richard can actually really benefit you? Does that change how y'all race each other?
As long as I'm not part of the issue, Richard's gonna race Richard's race, so there's not much I can control about that. But if something does happen to Richard, unfortunately that sucks. But I will have to take advantage as long as I'm not causing the incident. I don't want to pull a Mason Houseman and wreck all my teammates in a corner. So I definitely want thinking the long term. And if we can get 2 people in over 3, I'm okay with it.
That is fair enough.
Just for the record, that was not me bringing up Las Vegas again. I haven't brought it up the past couple of podcasts. Mason, don't hang me out here now.
I just wanted to make sure that as the chase we get closer, just remember the Vegas.
Good morning, Josh Anderson, indeed. But the battle I really want to see points wise is actually on our next screen, and that is between Robert Moyer Jr. and Sam Dyer. I know this has been the heated internal team rivalry between the two of them, and Robert has closed that gap to only 5 points. All right, no one wants to add on it. I will.
Sorry,
it's interesting. We're all catching up on chat and YouTube. Sam actually had a rough night at Darlington. He said it was the rough night of this season for him. And Robert Moyer, before we went live, actually did good, finishing 15th. So there is hope. And Daytona, IRP, Michigan, there's a lot of stuff that can happen. I think as crazy as Daytona can be and is, I think personally, with a lot of these point battles, I'm focused on IRP because with IRP, you're going to be able to use that bumper. You're going to be able to move the guy in front of you. We're going to see a lot of aggression, and these next 2 weeks, you're going to see the aggression on 2 different spectrums here. So it's going to be a crazy, crazy ride.
You know, with Robert Moyer and Sam Dyer, Robert Moyer is like his goal this whole season has been, I'm going to beat Sam Dyer. And he closed that gap massively at Darlington by having a fantastic run versus Sam's not so great one. So I've got a real big curiosity if they've got like some kind of internal bet here, the freaky fast guys. Well, I mean, what is it, Sam? You're not going to get paid for 2 or 3 races if Robert beats you? I think that's a fair trade.
If Robert wins, Sam has to go on a driver cam at least once a week with the jester hat or something.
Oh, you know what? I've got it even better. So Sam Dyer, Freaky Fast did their annual charity race in January, and Sam had to shave his face because they reached a milestone, and they did fantastic work with that charity work, and Sam had to shave his beard off. So I think instead of that, Sam, I think you should shave your head now.
Yes.
If Robert beats you, you should shave your head.
Ooh.
You heard it here first. If he doesn't agree to that, then we got a problem.
I just want to see Robert try extremely hard now just to see that. I guess that's the reason I want to see that happen.
Jared brings up another good battle, the Battle of the Coles, that being Cole Younger and Cole Lewis. They have been battling neck and neck all season and have not gotten to break apart from each other. I had just heard thunder for the first time in 6 months.
Ooh.
Thunder. It is thunderstorming. But no, that battle is going to be really interesting to see the rest of the season. And I saw Jamie Plord in chat mentioned that I owe him a push, and that I do. So Carl and Richard, points wise, I'm sorry, but I do owe him for last season. Jamie Plord, he pushed me to the win last season at Daytona.
Yeah, it is.
Ooh, so, you know, I wonder if I should cash in on Brendan. I gave Brendan a push at Talladega last season.
Well, now's your chance to actually cash it in because where people can actually help you.
Right. Although some people say I'm beyond helping, but you know, it's hard to say.
Oh boy. Where do we go from here? That is the question I am asking myself because I was not prepared.
Are you out of practice? What I mean,
well, we can
only
talk
1 week
about
off.
Daytona. I mean, how Daytona and our winners.
So the real thing I want to know about Daytona from y'all, of without a fast repair, we talked about it earlier, it's going to be different. What are y'all's thoughts to it of like stage racing now, or like those battles for the stages? Are they going to be worth the stage points in a wrecked car for some people, and who they will be and who they won't be, or just in general?
Well, I mean, as someone on the out looking in, I can tell you if I'm there 10th, 11th, 12th, I'm forcing the issue. I'm looking for those points. I'm going to be smart about it. I'm not going to just say, "Hey, I'm going to wreck, half the field for seventh place for a stage." That doesn't make sense. But I do I do want to be more aggressive in those situations. If I can grab another point, I need to grab another point. Hence why I stayed out, 12, 13 laps down for the majority of the race. I gained what, 5 positions over the course of the race. That was 5 extra points. So instead of 17, I could have been 22 points down.
Yeah.
And so I think with that mentality, you're going to have maybe some people that are comfortable, say Steven, yourself, Johnny, Mason, say, hey, maybe you know what? Maybe I don't need these. I'm going to stay back and just relax. Who knows? Race has got a race, and only Tuesday will determine that.
Yeah, I mean, Daytona is luckily I've done a lot of races recently without fast repairs between like the PGR 500, the Podium 500 last year as well. I mean this week, actually tonight I think was the first one. The NI is I think is it this weekend, Carl, that the Daytona 500
It is
running?
this weekend. I don't know if it starts tonight or tomorrow.
Okay. So, I mean, if you guys want some good practice, officials are running Daytona this week, especially the Daytona 500 for NIS. So that can give you some really good practice. I hate giving people an advantage here, but whatever. We're here to have some good racing, and I want to see it. So, but it's not really that hard to still make passes and be safe. It's the people that's going to want to shove it 3 wide 5 laps into the race is where the issue's going to lie. And I have a feeling there's a team that will do that. But we will see. Huh?
Just go ahead and say your own team.
Definitely not our team. Definitely not our team. That I can promise you. So, Johnny's gone again for the
What?
video, but
Nothing happened.
but yeah, so it's Nick is saying it's next week, and the Daytona 500 is next week, and draft.
Which it makes sense because it's not popping up on my events.
That makes
sticker,
sense.
so
It'll be next
that would
weekend
make
for the Daytona
sense.
500, so that works even. Oh
No,
why
that
won't we able to
doesn't.
do that? No, that doesn't. That's not next weekend because that's the actual Daytona 500, so it should be this weekend.
It should be, but I'm not seeing any events. It may repopulate
It'll be
tomorrow.
NIS.
It is, but right now it's still the Winter iRacing Series. They haven't switched over to NIS yet.
That's interesting.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I don't. I'd
Well-
have to check the schedule then for the Daytona 500 event. But either way, I think it's still going to be an interesting race. I'm curious if tempers are going to flare and the camel's back will break in this one with the whole fast repair being gone. So it's going to be interesting. We'll see how many cars are left on the track after stage 1 or stage 2. But I mean, even for me, stage points are everything right now, trying to secure my spot in the chase. So I'm going to do what I can to try to get up there.
And I really think IRP is the one where we're gonna have some camel breaking the straws back. What did you say? Straw breaking the camel's back? I don't know what you're saying is. But
Yeah, the straw that broke the camel's back.
yeah, that I ain't heard that one.
Really?
No.
Okay.
But
I don't want to. Okay, that
well,
was a comment that you guys can't hear. That's that's the senile comments from Robert Moyer in the background.
I think IRP is going to be that one that it's back to short track racing, and that will be a lot of hurt feelings. Even though damage at a short track isn't the end of the world, there's going to be some unintentional bumps for sure that ruin people's days. But Johnny, I wanted to ask you, being on the flip side of the point situation from Richard and Carl, being essentially locked in, not mathematically, but I mean for all intents and purposes, you're in. What is your mentality different about? Are you just going for wins now at this point to get some extra points for the chase to start off, or what does that look like to you?
No, I mean, I feel like we're gonna have a good drafting combo. We had a good. I want to say I don't think I was with Limitless last year, but there was a time where we were 1, 2, 3, and we came out of the pits, and there's a little trick to 3 card drafting, and we were rolling, and then I think a caution kind of like jumbled us back together, and then it separated us. But I was secretly like just sticking with these two in that whole draft tandem thing, and we were rolling. Like
Race manipulation.
I
But
will
it's,
say that's. Oh, so go ahead, Johnny. Sorry.
yeah, I think it's get Carl a win. I think it's gonna come. I won't do the Madden curse on Carl for the pick.
Oh man.
But and nobody picked me last week because there wasn't. So it happened. So
That's the women's fault. Okay, they're the ones that didn't pick. Well, they all picked Zach King, I think, or Dakota Black.
And
They were
Dakota
part of the
Black.
Black Club.
Yep.
The Black cult, yeah.
And I guess the curse happened there. But I guess if it comes down to it, if you're pushing Carl, you're going to sacrifice essentially yourself in getting a win and let Carl get a win.
Yeah, I mean, finish second at Daytona with no fast repairs. I mean, that's pretty good. And Carl gets a win.
Yeah,
45
But if
points.
Richard's in front of you, you won't push him. You'll try to get that win yourself.
Well, it depends on how far Carl is. If I can.
don't have a win this season yet either. Excuse me, Steven.
But it's different. Carl is a fan favorite at this point. And
Yes.
when everyone is
People just waiting.
It's true. It's
cheering
true.
on that
Carl is due for a win soon. And even if I'm behind Carl and it's for the win, I'm going to push Carl to that win. I'm not.
Although we've been saying this for the past like 2 seasons now, so I guess soon is relative.
It is a very relative term.
Whenever
But
that night comes, it's going to be really emotional. I think.
yeah, it definitely will. It definitely will be a very
yeah.
emotional night for him. But I mean, when it comes to drafting, Carl and I have always worked generally extremely well together at the drafting tracks. So Johnny and I know we were doing really well at Atlanta. Then we had one little mix up in one of the turns. I'm not sure exactly. I can't remember exactly what happened, but it was just an unfortunate happening.
Yeah,
So-
when you got a car on the inside and a car to the wall, and then you're up against somebody's back bumper, and they like lift because somebody got on their left rear.
Yeah,
That's kind of how that was.
Yeah. So, but yeah, generally Carl and I are pretty good at drafting. Johnny and I, he's pretty good as well. So our trio, I think we're gonna have a pretty good group to be able to perform pretty well at Daytona next week. So it's going to be exciting. It's again one of my favorite tracks to race at. I know a lot of people hate racing at super speedways, but I thrive in super speedway racing. I love it.
I like it when you're with people you know.
Mhm.
I can't jump in an official, and because nobody stays with you, nobody plays the game with you. They're just like, I'm out, here and there. So
It is a lot more fun and easier in a way with teammates because then it comes down to a pitch strategy too, and you can all communicate and get in together and work as a team. I like how Jamie Plord says he would wreck you and your grandmother, Carl, for a win.
I mean,
Winning
I
and
can't
Truex
blame him.
retiring. What a sequence of events.
But I'm hoping we can get Gavin to be with us this week because I feel like that could be an X factor in terms of our team of having that additional driver and someone that is a great pusher himself. Really would benefit us. And Next Level does not have win yet this season, which I'm surprised about.
Steven's
9 or
been
10
creeping.
yeah, 9 or 10 races in. I mean, I don't think Adam and I are not known for winning races. We're known for consistency, I think, at the end of the day. So
Well,
Jerry
and
needs to step up.
And the consistency is there's only 2 drivers that have started every race this season and have finished the top 10 every season. And they are in this chat room right now. Stephen Borbell
Look
and
at
Johnny
that.
Wood Jr. 100% top
Hey.
10 through 10 races.
Little knees can get it done too. They just
Little
can't get
knees.
across the checkered flag first.
Little knees and big ears, man. That's what you need to be consistent in the BRB Racing League.
Oh, put those things away.
Put them parachutes away, Johnny. We
Oh,
need
yeah.
those gone for
Oh, yeah,
Daytona.
I can't have an open face helmet.
Yeah, Sam, you bring a good point. Gavin did help King win that Atlanta race, and I'm still upset about him doing that. So maybe he shouldn't be racing.
Little knees is part of Limitless. Limitless knees. Oh no, no, sorry. Your ears is part of Limitless.
Yeah,
That's
the
what it
ears
is.
are the ears are limitless.
Limitless ears.
That's what's holding y'all back. Well,
Wait.
let's get into our predictions for Daytona. And Johnny, will start you off.
All right. Well, like I said, I'm not going to give the curse to somebody, but I'll give it to somebody else. I'm gonna pick Evan Patinko. He's he's pretty good at speedways. He's gotten very good lately. I've seen him in the front lately. So and I think I was drafting with him last season or maybe this season. No, we haven't done I think it was last season in Talladega. It was either Talladega or Daytona, and he's a good pusher, and I'm gonna pick him. So
All right. I mean, hey, Evan definitely has speed. He's been
he's got a new
I feel like
rig, I think.
does he? Oh, so that's the secret.
I think sometime last season he got like a whole new setup. So
I mean, I'd consider him one of the most consistent drivers in our league. I think he's just had a lot of bad luck lately. So it would definitely be nice to see him get a win. I mean, there's a handful of guys I'd love to see get their first win, and Carl being one of them. But Carl, with that, who are you picking for Daytona?
I'm gonna pick Gray Walker.
You.
I think he's part of that Roblox team, the Accelerate team. A lot of young guys in there, but he's had the most success. And I did pick him on my chase in the beginning of the season because I did see him run some of those preseason races too. He's been fast, but little help maybe from a teammate or two and a flag, and he can be in that winner circle easy.
That is who I wanted to go with. So
Sounded like it.
thank you. Yeah, I think that Accelerate team could definitely work together well and help him out. I guess I defaulted. I don't know your thought process, but I defaulted to Gray just because he's been the best running out of them this season.
Mhm.
And I feel like he could win most of the tracks we run at.
Between him and Brandvold's had a lot of
Mhm.
bad luck. But he's
Sure.
I always see myself around Brandvold either passing him or getting passed. So he'd be another one I think from that team.
That is fair. And Richard, your thought for the winner?
I'm gonna have to say him and I worked really, really well back in our other league we used to run. I'm gonna have to go with Jamie Plord. He's been on a tear this part of this season. I know he knows how to drive super speedways really well. He's a great draft partner as well. But I think with the right moves at the right time, like just the typical answer, Jamie could easily get up there and get up front.
Yeah, another great option. And he is owed a push by me. So as long as I'm there at the end, sure I'll find him and help him in a way. That is unless this person is up front contesting for the win and I'm there as well, and that's going to be Jared Hughes. I feel like he was there. What was it? Talladega last year. Him, myself, and Adam were all running up there up front, and something bad happened towards the end. I don't remember exactly what, but it took him out of contention late. But Jared is, I feel like, pretty good at understanding how to drive these super speedways and knowing when to push and when not to push. And he needs to get a win. But those are our winners predictions for this week. I am struggling thinking today. And with that, Johnny, I've got some questions for you.
all right.
Raggy.
Jared is screwed.
I was a
Nick,
ghost.
I was going to pick you. Oh, God. That scared me. All right. To get us started, this is our Sundance Pizza sit down. Richard,
What's up?
the tune.
Sundance Pizza, sit down.
Thank you.
Sorry, I
Thank you.
forgot the tune.
Man, I
enough.
thought that sounded like a soundboard.
Close enough. But just a couple questions to give everyone a chance to get to know you a little bit more, and for us to get to know you a little bit more. You've been around, what is this, almost 2 full seasons now? So I feel like it's about time some people get to know you, because I don't think you give us a lot of information in the Discord. So
Kind of in and out.
yep, you are in and out, and honestly, that's good sometimes. It prevents you from starting stuff. But where are you from? Is the first question.
Yeah, I live now in Mooresville, North Carolina, a couple miles from Junior Motorsports and all the race shops. There's a couple guys in the apartment complex that I live at that used to work at Stewart Haas, and now they have went over to 2311. We shoot pool sometimes here at the apartment together, and they talk some stuff about the cars, and I kind of get knowledge with that. It's pretty cool. I'm in the construction field, so the little bit of stuff that we talk about with the cars and everything is pretty interesting. But yeah, I'm in Mooresville now. I used to live in Columbia, South Carolina, and then I moved up here to be a professional race car driver, but I didn't have the millions of dollars, so that didn't make it very far.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yep.
this day and age is kind of what you need, unfortunately. Do you have a background or any experience oval racing in real life?
Yeah, I ever since I was 8, I've raced the dirt flat carts. I've raced a couple dirt mini stock races, and then I've hot lapped some like a Cars Tour late model. A buddy of mine, I used to run with him, and we ran 2 full seasons and ran a couple laps around Myrtle Beach Speedway. It was pretty fun. It's a little weird. Like, I done that when I was about 19, and it's like when you jump in a real car and that suspension rolls over. I mean, you're like, you know, going in the corner, you set the car, and then all of a sudden the car rolls over, and you're like, holy, you know.
It's the
But
thing that we don't get in the sim that
yep,
really separates it from realism.
yep. So
But
that
no,
was pretty fun.
that makes a lot of sense. I think of why you're able to translate certain things into the sim. At the end of the day, because I feel like you do have knowledge of certain things that a lot of guys in iRacing specifically don't have. Of how to find speed at certain places, in certain parts of the track and whatnot. But no, that's awesome. And you mentioned that you're in the construction field, but give us a little bit more information of what your job is day to day and what you do.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's kind of a world, I mean, not national wide company of Renewal by Anderson. We installed windows and doors. I'm a service tech for Renewal by Anderson. I used to build porches and decks, and we installed a bunch of windows and doors in porches and decks. So I jumped from that to this, and in between that, I actually worked at Butler Built, which is the seat manufacturer or the seat company that builds dirt car seats. And it's a small shop. They don't pay nothing, so I had to revert back to the construction field. And these race shops don't, if you don't have any racing background or an engineer degree, you're not going to get in some of these race shops. So it was back to Renewal by to Renewal by Anderson. So putting in windows and doors, fixing windows and doors. I mean, it could be a 90-year-old lady can't reach that window that we installed 2 weeks ago because it looks dirty and there's a smudge. I'll hop a ladder up, get up there and clean it off and get a survey and haul to the next one, and I may install a full door on the next one. So it's kind of, you never know what's next, which is cool.
I'm familiar with them. A couple years back, my dad used to work for them years and years ago. But a couple years back, we had them come out and they did all the windows in his house, pretty recently. So I
Yeah.
didn't know that was a national brand, but it makes sense.
Yeah, they're pricey, but man, you can call about
Quality.
anything. Yeah, you can call about anything, and we're coming to look at it or fix it or figure out a way to. It's like we have the Costco uh, customer service. Like we don't I mean, hey, there's a bug crawling on my window. All right, we'll come smush it. You know, it's one of those.
Man, the full package.
Are you gonna pay for them? I mean, you could buy a brand new truck for the amount of money that these things cost. But
Yeah. But hey, that service is worth it for some people. But the next question is NASCAR related. Who is your favorite NASCAR driver?
current, I guess, or ever.
You can give me current and then give me ever or either or.
Well, it used to be uh, Corey LaJoy. I met him at the go kart track up here, and we raced actually in a league race with the Reynolds, and we went back and forth for about 15 minutes. It was an Ironman race, and he can drive. Like you know, the big stage is very tough, but he was weighing, he weighs like what, 240 maybe. I mean,
massive.
he's a big guy, and I weigh about 145, and we're in these tiny go karts, and he
Half
was
of its
setting.
ears.
Yep, he was setting that cart, and he was like, I'd run him down, and I have a lot of experience up here at this go kart track. I've ran many laps here, and you could see the skill come out of him. And we sat and talked for about 35 minutes after the race, and he's just a chill guy. This is pretty early into the Stacking Pennies podcast before he went over to the NASCAR,
Mhm.
Page or whatnot. He was like the little tiny, in his little shop or whatever. But I actually didn't know his name. Raced the whole time. The only guy that I knew there was Shelton Creed, and he pulled out of the race like super quick.
Yeah.
And then I think Ryan Truex was there.
Is
And
this
then
that Trackhouse Motorplex?
Yep. And Stephen Parsons, Stephen Parsons,
Mhm.
Stephen Parsons, they were there. But I actually didn't know who Corey was, and he was the only current Cup driver there. And after the race, I was like, all right, man, cool. After we talked for 35 minutes, it was like, cool, man. What's your name? I'll see you later. He's like, Corey LaJoy. And I'm like, cool, man, nice to meet you. And I left, and I was like, he was on his phone a lot, and he had like his name painted on his helmet. I was like, let me Facebook him. And I was like, fuck, that's Corey LaJoy. I didn't even know.
So
So-
was that your current, or
That's
was that
actually- Go ahead.
was that your current driver? Because I mean, I guess technically he still is an active driver.
I actually won that race.
So you can say that you beat Corey LaJoy.
Technically, yeah.
And I mean, I guess that's not worth as much as it was maybe a year ago, because his reputation, I think, in the general population has changed a lot.
Yeah.
But-
You know what? We're gonna have to get that clip of you saying that Johnny Wood beat Corey LaJoy.
I actually got a
And I'm
picture.
gonna post it. I'm gonna post it on social media and tag him
Oh yeah,
for the BRB Hauler podcast.
that will definitely get some attention in the NASCAR landscape of things.
Yeah, I had to dig up the photo. It was on Instagram.
Can't wait to see the
Somewhere.
comments on that. But is Corey is that your favorite current driver, or is that like an all time? You said it used to be Corey.
Yeah, well, current used to be Corey.
Okay.
Man, now I'd say Ross, just because he's that outlaw.
Love that pick.
I like Noah. He's cool, but after Ross and Noah got into it, and with the Hail Melon, just that's gangster. That's
I mean,
out the
Ross
box
is
stuff.
one of those guys. Like I think he's the most down to earth, or one of the most down to earth drivers. If he's just a normal guy, at the end of the day, and he's doing what he loves to do, and is humble about it. So I think that's an awesome pick.
I will say though, like when that Ross Chastain when he punched Noah Gragson, it was awesome to see because like I miss the drivers kind of doing those little scuffles. I hate NASCAR kind of stepping in and going, no, we're a gentleman's sport now. It's like, no, we're not. No, we're NASCAR.
Yeah.
But
That guy that like split him up.
The one problem I had with that is when he threw the punch, he then cowered as quickly as he could. I was like, bro, you just threw a punch. Take one also. Like, dude.
Not today's world that we live in.
Yeah, we need some hockey back into it or something.
I agree.
Like, come on, like you know, people like Western movies too. You know, we still like those Western movies. I mean, let them throw down.
Apparently, in today's society, that's not a thing anymore. Can't have disagreements.
Not
Unless it's the
acceptable.
Discord. We can't have disagreements in the Discord. You keep that private. But so, how and
Wow.
when did you get into iRacing, Johnny?
I want to say I bought it in either 2016 or 2017, and I played it for about 2 years. And then we moved. This is, you know, I guess my stories are always long. We moved into this apartment complex that you couldn't bring in your own internet, and the service that was there was Wi-Fi only,
Oof.
no Ethernet. So I held on to my stuff for like a year, and then after that, I just fell off of, you know, caring about it, and I sold everything. And then we moved into a new place. We actually moved up here to Mooresville, and a bunch of people in this in the complex was racers, and I was like, man, I got to get another rig. And man, a good buddy of mine, Kale, set me up with a good rig, which is the one I have now, and got back into it. I would say steady from now till when I got, you know, full time, probably 5 years now. And I just really do oval. I've had a couple hints of wanting to boost some of the other ratings, but just once the next gen cars kind of came out, it's just fun to me. You know, that it reminds me of the karts like that I race. There's no rollover. They're stiff, and when they break loose, they break loose. Like you find that edge. It's, you know, so
Interesting. I haven't heard that comparison before, but I mean, after you saying it, it makes a lot of sense.
yeah, because they got the new tire out.
Mm-hmm.
That's, you know, whatever they are. What are they? What are they? 20s? Are they?
I don't know, but it's a really small sidewall.
Yeah, very small sidewall, no rollover. Our go-kart tires are like no sidewall. Like there's even, to give you a brief, like in our world of racing, the Maxxis tires that we use, they actually, in the sidewall, they're like this high, you know, maybe like 3-4 inches tall. People have laid them flat and laid carbon fiber inserts in them to get a stiffer sidewall. Like it's kind of like a
Oh.
trick. It's pretty cool. But, you know.
Lots of little tips and tricks in the real world of racing that we can't do, unfortunately, in iRacing. Unless you're Gavin Rogers and you get the grip hack somehow. I don't know what he does to it, but
I think you got to
for some-
understand the tire model, like what it does.
oh, and it seems
And
hard, especially when it changes.
yeah, the only guy that I can find any information is it TJ Lee or JT Lee?
Yeah,
I know who you're talking about. Is it
DJ
DJ?
EVG or whatever.
Yeah, that's. I think everyone in the iRacing community knows of him for
Yeah.
his tire YouTube videos and whatnot.
hmm
And it's kind of nice of how he lays out a lot of the testing that he does. Granted, I feel like most of the time he uses like an Arca or a Gen 4 car. So that doesn't always directly translate to the next gen since it does drive stiffer and a little bit different.
Yeah, but I mean, if they completely haul a new tire model to every car in this game, it would be unbelievable. I mean, there's got to be similarities.
There definitely are similarities, but it's just, I guess, trying to find that line of what is similar and what's different. It's tough to know. And it's DJ Yej.
Yeah.
Because I think he done some of who's that guy that does the setups, the tire or the
McConey?
man. Yeah, I don't know if it's McConey or Premier Racing Setups. I don't know if it's one of those two. I think it might be. Actually, I think it is McConey. He's done a couple like tutorial videos on how to drive a track. That DJ Yiga.
Yeah, he's definitely a good source of knowledge for sure. And those that are watching that don't know who he is, I do recommend giving a couple of his videos a watch. There's some good helpful tips in there for basics at least. And then also, I think he had one for qualifying, specifically at super speedways about heating the tires. So that might be a good watch headed into Daytona this week. And Johnny, when it comes to iRacing, what is your favorite track and least favorite track in iRacing? They can be ovals, they can be road courses, whatever you want to choose.
I'd say probably Motegi for an oval, like the Motegi oval.
As favorite?
Yep,
Wow. Okay.
What?
as an oval. And then I would say if you let me pick the road course, it'd be the Nürburgring, the full course.
Wow. Two pick. I mean, I'm not surprised, I guess, with Nürburgring. But Motegi, I think that's a real shock. What? Why Motegi?
I don't know. Like I ran a league race on Mondays last season, and they
At
ran Motegi. Yeah, they ran Motegi, and coming off a 4, nobody can figure it out. Or some people could figure it out, but the guys that I was with could not figure it out. And once you figure out kind of coming off a 4 and saving, getting into 1, it's just a fun track.
Hmm.
I'm still shocked more of a Nürburgring. I mean, it's a fun track. I enjoy driving it, but I would never say it's my favorite.
I mean, it's just endless in a way. Like you can get it dialed in and know the kind of where you're at when you get to certain corners, but it's one of those. It's endless. I mean, there's so many corners.
Right, literally endless. I mean, it's half a marathon is one
It's
lap.
limitless.
It's limitless. I see what you did there. I love
End of the
it.
day, it is a little limited. It is a circle.
Rude.
But going to your number of 75, why is it 75? Is that your number growing up?
Yep. No. I mean, I had 14, but I think this 14 was picked by my boy Zachary.
The man that gave you a win.
Yep. He really helped me. I don't know if he's still watching, but my other league, my Monday night leagues, I was 750 because I'm very good at figuring stuff out on the computer. I could not figure out how to change my number in iRacing, and it defaulted me to 750. And they were like, "You kind of like here, your number has to match your door. Your number has." I said, "You know what? F it. I'm 750." And I raced 750, and then I came in here, and I was like, "Ooh, I know how to change my number." Ooh. And I was like, "I want 14," and I seen where 14 was missing, and I was like, "What about 775?" Like door numbers, making a door number as 750. Good lord! I mean, that thing's a mile long.
Yeah, I'm so glad I don't have to do that.
Yeah, I use traded paints, but I was like, you know what, 75 is not bad. And if I'd have thought of it, I would have picked 7. But I didn't really look and see who all, because I think you got to scroll up a long way to kind of see all the people posting in Discord. So I was just said, give me 75. I don't see anybody with 75 right offhand. So that's it.
It's a good thing you didn't pick 7. 7 has a long history of not a good history in leagues and previous leagues of a certain driver that was definitely probably the most hated driver. Or second most, actually.
I'd say second most.
Yeah, second most, but had definitely a reputation to it. And I can promise if you had 7 from the get-go, you would have been raced a little bit different by some of these guys.
And that's just because of PTSD reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then after racing with you, then we learned that we should be racing hard around you.
Yeah, I like some. I think Brendan said it perfect. What is it? Clean and mean.
Wait, is that how he described your driving?
Yeah, I guess so. After Pocono, and it's like, yeah, that's the way to do it. Anybody can run. Just go in and clear somebody out. Like let's, use the cars, get on somebody's left rear, get them tight. Get on their right rear. Like make a pass. Don't go in and clear somebody out.
I think that is a very fair way to assess your driving. It's always fun to race around you. I'm not worried about you coming up into me out of a corner or anything like that. And if it is, it's just like a little, we're racing kind of touch. It's going to happen. But you are definitely one of the harder guys to pass on a normal basis, I would say. You make it really difficult. And I don't know if that's just certain drivers that you make it harder to pass or what the case is.
Yeah, certain times.
Just depends on the situation. But on to my last, final, and favorite question. So you're on a long road trip and you stop at the gas station. What drink and what snack are you grabbing, Johnny?
Yep. So if I'm driving or if I'm not driving, it's a banquet and a slice of pizza.
That's if you are driving.
Both. Yeah, it's a road soda.
A road soda.
Yep.
A specific slice of pizza.
Pepperoni. One of these. I just seen it. One of the what's the pizza company?
Come on,
Sundance?
you got to do it yourself.
Sundance. Yeah. Yeah. It's one of these slices of Sundance pizzas.
Oh man! In all honesty, Jared has harped on me for what is it called?
I'm serious.
You're capping.
My stuff's got
Hunt
10.
Brothers Pizza.
Oh, yeah.
That's a gas station pizza. I haven't tried it. I've heard of it, and Jared has told me that it is the best pizza. Is that true?
Yes. The other week, I actually stopped in the gas station to get a drink because I do service, whatever. And they were not advertising that they had Hunt Brothers Pizza. And I walked in, and they had the whole thing, whole display, pizza and all. And I'm like, I grabbed a slice, walked up to the counter, and I'm like, yo, y'all need to put a sign out. Like where I'm from, people will like tear down the pumps getting in this place to get some of this pizza.
It's really that good.
Yeah, who said it, Jared?
Jared.
Yeah, I mean, you could hit dozers coming in getting this pizza.
Interesting. There's Jared. Hunt Brothers is the goat. I'll always remember him telling me that. And growing up, I mean, I didn't have a whole bunch of Hunt Brothers around me in Dallas, but I got to see them more.
My
as I've
bad, hit
gotten
road
older.
scrapers.
That's
My bad.
Jared.
It's not a dozer. He didn't hit a dozer.
Same
He hit a road scraper.
Did a lot more damage to himself than he did to the snowplow.
Snowplow.
But no, well, I can't say I am surprised. I think those were solid picks. I've definitely seen worse picks out of the gas station drink and snack, is all I'm gonna say. I don't know who said it, but someone said when we started this that your snack was gonna be Tic Tacs.
I think that was Jared saying that Johnny picks Tic Tacs for a living.
Yeah. Johnny makes Tic Tacs as a
I'm
snack.
far from that. The combos is a good one. I mean,
See?
pepperoni
fine.
combos,
They're fine.
a moon pie. Yeah, if you could find them. Nobody stocks.
I haven't
moon
seen an
pies.
RC Cola in a
Really?
long
We got
time.
moon pies down here in the gas stations.
Yeah, there's
Well, they're
good
not
But-
I saw them the other day.
You can also find moon pies at your local Cracker Barrel.
Moon pies are at every gas station here. They're
Like-
super easy to find.
Sold individually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. We
Interesting.
don't have them.
With RC Cola, that I have not seen that in years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's.
RC Cola and Cheerwines all around here. And
I can
some-
find an
tried
RC
that yet
Cola at
either.
like an IGA, but not in like a regular store.
Well, with that, we will conclude our Sundance Pizza sit down, and we'll get into some NASCAR news and some NASCAR stuff. I want to lead off with. Richard, you're giving me a weird look.
No, I was just
Okay. Just
my
wanted to
face
make
doing
sure I
some
wasn't
stupid
missing
stuff. That's
something.
all.
To start us off in the NASCAR world of discussions of such, Daytona is less than 2 weeks away, and next week we're going to go into more of an actual formal discussion about Daytona. However, this week I want to have a discussion about the 2025 season as a whole, and for us to pick our 16 playoff drivers.
Oh Jesus.
Yep. No preparation,
man.
no nothing. I'd recommend each of y'all to pull up a list of drivers. At the end of the day, a full NASCAR roster might help you to make sure you don't forget a name. But we'll go one by one. We'll start from first to 16th. And this, don't worry about your ranking. Like, just because you put Chase Elliott number 1 does not mean that's where you think he's going to finish. Just do it as you wish, but as long as you get your 16 in there. And in the chat, please feel free to tell us why we're wrong or why we're right in certain instances. But without further ado, Johnny, I want you to go ahead and give us your first person that is making playoffs this season.
Let me.
And if you need a second, that is fine.
First person to make it, or just kind of the first pick?
I mean, just your first pick. Like it doesn't have to be who you think's going to finish first this season. Just first name that you know is going to make the playoffs this season.
Let's see. Here we go. Easy one is Bill.
That is a very easy one.
Yeah. So 16.
We'll go rapid fire for these first couple because I'm sure probably at least the first 6 to 8 we'll all have. And we'll go right down the line. So Johnny, and now we'll go Carl.
Ooh, Denny Hamlin.
Oh, yeah.
Denny Hamlin. I am also going to go Denny Hamlin. Just get it out of the way. And Richard.
A lot of road courses, SVG.
Oh man, you're gonna make me spell out his whole name.
No, just put an SVG.
All right, Johnny, you're number 2.
Yeah, I'll say William Byron.
William Byron's a good one. Carl, who you got?
Chase Elliott.
All right. Oh, why did that happen? That's not what I want.
Well, Chase Elliott was the winner.
Apparently. I'm also going to go William Byron. And Richard?
Kyle Larson.
Oh, how could I forget that name? All right, Johnny, you're number 3.
I'm going to say, what's his name? Jesus Christ.
I don't think so.
He's not a race car.
I don't know if he's on the roster.
I just like. Oh, yeah, there it is. I was Noah Gratson with a new team. Yep, with front row, he's going to win a speedway race.
All right.
Yep.
First, I would say bold pick thus far. And Carl, you're number 3.
Oh, Kyle Larson.
Yeah, can't not go Kyle Larson. I'm just going to make it easy and put Kyle Larson here as well. Hey, Richard?
Ryan Blaney.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to say,
the more names there are, they're obvious.
unfortunately, Logano.
Really? I mean, I think that's...
I was trying to just ignore him.
Yeah.
I think that's
I
what
just
we
make
all
it
do.
easy. Cancel that. Tyler Reddick then.
Oh, there you go. That's a for sure.
If we're gonna do it that way.
All right, Carl.
Ooh, you know what? Christopher Bell. I think he's gonna make it in.
I can't read. All right, Christopher Bell. I'll go ahead and go Chase Elliott. And Richard?
Josh Berry. I think he's
Really?
really good. Yeah, I think he's doing really good on the short tracks, and I think Wood Brothers can provide him some good machinery.
You personally think Wood Brothers is an upgrade from where SHR was? And
Hey.
I'm not debating that, but
I think with Berry behind the wheel, yes.
Yeah. I'm gonna
Very
say
interesting.
Gibbs.
Ty Gibbs?
Yep.
All right. Man, I think it's his make or break year. He's really got to push towards that win.
I don't think he has anything to worry about. Grandpa's
Well,
the team owner.
No, but I feel
But
like a lot of his actual reputation will be under fire.
Yeah. He
I
can
mean,
get
let's
hot
look at the Clash.
Hey, that was awesome. Honestly, I gained some respect for him for that.
Nobody was expecting that.
That was awesome. All right, Carl.
Oh, Ross Chastain.
Feel like that one could happen, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I thought it would last season.
he has a chance.
Definitely has a chance as the safest trackhouse driver, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go ahead and go Christopher Bell. Because how can you not?
Real quick, did you just say Ross Chastain's the safest when you have Shane Van Gisbergen who dominates the road courses?
I'm saying safest as in contract terms.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Chris Buescher.
Mr. Busher.
Yeah, Big Country's been
Yes.
doing really
I
good
don't think that's how you spell
lately.
it, but close enough.
Yeah, you got me on that one. I'm gonna
There's
say
a SCHR.
I'm gonna go with Brad.
That still doesn't
Brad
look right.
K. That doesn't look right, but we're going with it. Brad K. I'd love to
who
see
am I gonna
Brad do it.
pick?
That is right, by the way, Steven.
That's right.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Buescher.
Man, those kids from
Impressive.
Prosper, Texas have some weird spelling.
Didn't he win Darlington?
He won Watkins Glen.
Yes, I believe
Watkins Glen.
so.
Darlington was Briscoe.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, Buescher pushed SVG out of the way going into the carousel.
Oh,
Yeah.
great race.
That's right. That was a fun one. Ooh, sixth choice. You know what? Man, no, we're getting. I'll throw Joe Logano in there just to be safe. I'll hedge my
Wow.
bets. I know.
Oh, brother.
I
Guy
know.
stinks. I'll go with Tyler Reddick for my 6.
Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch.
We're waiting for it.
You think it's going to be the bounce back year?
I think it could. I don't think he's happy that he didn't get his 20 seasons in a row with a win.
Yeah, I'm sure that's eating away at him a little bit.
I'm gonna say Austin Cindric.
No, get out of here. Sorry, this podcast has come to an end. You
I'm
said the
done.
name.
The little list that I got, I'm trying not to pick any of you, but you like
You're not trying to pick the obvious
It's-
one?
yeah, just to make it make a talk.
I guess that's
Hey,
fair.
that's kind of what I've been doing. I don't like. I don't think anybody's chosen anything that I've got so far.
You know what? Even better, Cody Ware.
Oh, God.
Okay. All right.
It's getting
You're
crazy
Glad
at
that this is
point.
a joke.
to leave.
Carl. Give me a real
You know
name.
what? I'm gonna throw Tyler Reddick in there too.
Tyler Reddick. And I am going Ryan Blaney. And
Old
Richard.
Custer.
Okay. This is an abomination of a list that I'm seeing on this right side.
Yeah.
I don't know to be sick or what.
Sick in the head.
I mean, on paper, I guess it kind of makes sense. I know there's a lot of questions about Cole Custer as a driver, especially in these Cup cars, but I mean, I would think SHR would get better with just focusing on, or sorry, not SHR, Haas
Not
Factory, HFT, Haas Factory team, with only one car, but
I'm gonna say the 34 of Todd
oh,
Gillen
that'd be awesome.
with a Atlanta win.
Well, we know they have the qualifying speed. At least last year they did. All right, Carl, who is your number 8 spot halfway through?
Halfway through. See, now we're getting to the point where,
It's a little bit more difficult.
yeah. Let's do. You know what? I'm gonna say Alex Bowman because he needs to bounce back this year. I think he can do it. So I'm gonna put Alex Bowman out there.
Dakota Bled just became a huge fan of yours, Carl, I'm sure.
I'll send you the Bowman flag now.
I'm gonna go with Chase Briscoe. Yeah, move over
Ty Gibbs.
to that. All right, another Ty Gibbs pick.
Yeah. I don't like it, but he's not a bad driver. I don't like Ty Gibbs, but he's not a bad driver.
He's definitely talented.
Since
and
he's got into the Cup Series, he's did some questionable stuff in Xfinity.
I think this season is he going to reach his 100th start this season? Because isn't that like the benchmark of where it seems like people get their first win now?
Don't think so.
Said like
Well, it's
3
his third
years.
season, right? So yeah, it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be close.
Yeah, it should be close.
I mean, he was
Oh
what?
no.
He was good at Bristol, wasn't he?
He was fast at Bristol.
He just had to learn how to.
He didn't know how to save them tires.
Oh yeah, there's
Yep.
36 races in a season, so yeah, he could hit his 100 race mark.
He should. All right, Johnny, you're number 9.
Easy street with Blaney. Oh
Ah.
my God, there's 16. Okay.
There are 16 drivers that make the playoffs.
Oh God.
Unfortunately, it is not our playoffs. Did you say Blaney?
Yeah.
Nice and easy with Blaney. All right. Carl?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Blaney too.
Have to include Ryan. This is definitely where it does get a little bit more difficult.
I'm gonna start picking the people that I picked before.
I
I'm
chose
gonna go
off the
with
wall.
Chris Buescher.
Yeah, I kind of chose off the wall people for first state, so my last state is going to be a little easier.
All right.
Chase Elliott.
Wow. Well, duh.
The- AJ Allmendinger.
Really?
Yeah, I
He's
think
gonna win an oval?
No, probably one of the road courses, maybe Texas road course, Austin, Texas.
I was about to say, Texas Oval's having a road course now?
I mean, there's Coda.
I know,
Yeah,
I know.
Coda. My bad.
I forget that Coda's in Texas.
Boo.
Yeah, exactly.
I always forget the name of that track.
Circuit of the Texas?
Yep.
Circuit of the Americas.
Yeah, Texas.
It's
All right, Carl, give it to me.
no circus.
Pick your boy, Briscoe.
No, it was weird seeing the 19 out there or seeing all those cars out there without a Martin Truex. It hit hard. Man, if I do that, I'm gonna pick all of that team. Man, this is tough. Yeah, I'll do. Have I done Gibbs yet? I'll do Ty Gibbs. I say he makes a win at a super speedway somewhere.
I'm gonna go with Brian Priest.
Okay, that's not a bad pick. I'm gonna go with good old Seabell.
Bell?
Burl, Christopher Burl.
Burl? Christopher Werbell?
Christopher Burl.
Yeah.
Future
And
kid's name.
These aren't in a row. It's just
No,
kinda like-
no.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
okay.
wherever you feel.
So I think squeezing in again would be Bubba Wallace.
Yeah. And I will go SVG. All right, Richard.
Let's go with Tyler Reddick.
Tyler Reddick. You got it. And back to Johnny.
Bowman.
Alex Bowman.
His last year with Hendrick.
That's crazy.
Wow.
There's no way, right?
Oh.
No way. All right, Carl.
You know what, Daniel Suarez. I want him to have some success, and I think he needs help. But I want him to. I want him to.
help.
I want him to be in this season.
In his last season with Trackhouse.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, go figure, right?
When Zilich moves up next year.
Yep.
Kyle Busch.
Man, could you imagine if he won in Mexico City?
Oh,
right.
dude,
Kyle
that
Busch.
Holy cow.
erupt.
Dude, it was
man.
it was awesome seeing him win the was it Watkins Glen or what was the
Sonoma.
wanted-
Sonoma?
Yeah, Sonoma.
The Suarez, what was it? Amigos.
Yeah, Suarez's
would-
amigos.
Yep, they would pan over every lap, and they would just be, man. They were. Yep.
Willie B.
Oh, you didn't even have Willie and Byron yet?
Not yet.
Oh, you saved all your softballs for the end.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, before Carl said it, I was gonna say Suarez, so I'll just go with that.
Oh, wow. I'm surprised two Suarez's.
Andale rápido.
He's probably in the actual make or break year for his contract.
Yeah, really, and he needs. I think they have the equipment. He just needs to translate a little better. I'll put SVG in there because I do think he can win a road course, but his spotter needs to learn what meters are. So we need to work on that.
I'm hoping they touched on that in the off season.
Oh, I hope so. I don't know if a lot of people caught it, but it cracked me up when I saw it.
It's a silly thing that you don't really think about, but I mean, for someone not
Right.
from here, it can
Yeah,
definitely be a thing.
exactly.
But I'm gonna go with Ross the Boss.
Look at that.
Oh
I'm
man, I just
following suit
picked
for
all of freaking
Ross
Trackhouse, didn't
Westmead.
I? That's
You're
crazy.
following up.
I'm following you on that one.
All right.
I actually had him picked in my mind before you said it, so
Well, I'm glad I could say it for you.
I know, right?
I'm gonna say the number 3.
No way.
Really?
What is this list, Johnny?
What? Johnny's on drugs.
Cody Ware and Austin Dillon.
The ragtag little
you're not-
rascals group.
You're not writing it down. Mine's not on the sheet.
Oh,
so-
but it's being recorded and it's memorized.
Even better.
Oh boy.
Oh man.
Carl, who do you got? You got 3 left.
Oh, you know what? This is I'm gonna take a left turn here. Carson Hocevar.
Well, all these drivers take left turns, so
I was
Well,
gonna say that.
that's true. Some rights. But I like Carson Hocevar. I like how he ran the truck series. He kind of skipped the Xfinity series, went straight to Cup. But I like his attitude. I like it shows signs of speed. He just is young. He has a lot to learn, and so I have hopes for him this year.
Yeah, he definitely has speed as long as he can keep it clean. But I'm gonna go with Brad K and put all of the RFK cars in there.
all right. I'm gonna go with Denny Hamlin.
No way you have the champion as your 14 slot.
I'm gonna say
What, the
Christopher
champion? He
Buescher.
hasn't won one yet. What are you talking about?
No, don't worry, just wait.
Just
Just wait.
I'm sorry, Johnny. Who'd you say?
Christopher Buescher.
Christopher Buescher. What a callback. All right, Carl. 2 left.
All right, so I'm trying to think of teams that have legit shots, and not just the drivers.
That's half the equation.
Right.
Hi, Dylan.
No. You know what? I'm gonna put AJ Allmendinger on there. I know Johnny mentioned him earlier, and I think AJ wants to go out on top and wants to win another one before he calls it.
I think everyone would be okay with that.
Yeah, but this is the list of the winning you're in, right?
I mean, it is
I mean,
the real world playoffs.
yeah. I mean, there's plenty of courses on
There
the
are
schedule.
plenty of road courses, but now we have a good handful of guys that I think are really good at road courses, and SVG specifically. I think a lot of people are banking on him to win one, but it's not a guarantee anymore.
Yeah.
Oh boy. This is where it's starting to get a little
Cody Ware. No, I'm just kidding.
interesting. Yeah. Corey LaJoy.
Oh,
Yeah, as a part timer.
yeah, with his Daytona
Hey,
win.
yeah, exactly. I would love to see if he won Daytona. You
On
know
the
how
next-
how funny
yeah.
that would be.
What is he
Fun.
gonna pull a Ricky Bobby and run instead of drive across the finish line?
Man, you can't tell
Gotta
me
have
that
a
wouldn't
car to
be
compete,
entertaining.
man.
That would be awesome. He'll be upside down.
I'm on
Again?
fire!
I'm gonna go Bubba Wallace.
All righty, I'm gonna go Chase Briscoe.
Chase Briscoe it is. All right. All got one more pick.
Ooh. Oh no.
I'm gonna say Michael McDowell.
Really?
Yes. Squeeze.
Road course, super speedway?
I don't know. He's not with the Ford,
All
but I
right.
feel like it'd be. I don't know. I think he'll squeeze in there. I mean, Hosefar's on the same
You have a really interesting list. Austin Cindric, Michael McDowell, Cody
Oh,
Ware.
you are writing this down.
I mean, I'm just telling you, I'm memorizing
Oh
it.
man.
I'm shocked he didn't add Ricky Stenhouse Jr. to that list.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
honestly.
no. I was a fan at one time, and that was the Wilkesboro, and then after that, it was gone.
Oh, man.
Jeez.
That was funny.
All right, Carl, you got your last one.
Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna put this out there just because it'd be hilarious from him to come out of the gates and just win like 5-6 races. But I'm gonna say Kyle Busch.
I mean, I don't think that's
Really a
that
wild
crazy.
pick.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, I mean, look with the team though. Come on, RCR.
I mean, but they're
He's already won a
tier
couple
one
races with, like, yeah.
Chevy team. At the end of the day, they can flip the switch.
They just haven't had drivers behind their wheel.
Well,
Except Jesus, I guess.
Except Jesus. Yes.
I'm really torn.
I think mine's gonna shock all of you when I pick it.
the last one.
Well, I
Yeah.
feel like we might be thinking on the same wavelength. I'm gonna be honest, but
I doubt it.
all right. I'm not gonna pick who I think you're picking. I'm gonna go with Todd Gilliland as my last.
Okay,
Nick Giordano out.
that's an out in the outfield pick, kind of like I'm about to do.
Are you about to take his teammate?
Who's his teammate?
Oh, okay, maybe not then. Give it to me.
I feel like I know who his teammate is, but I totally was it. No.
Zing.
Riley Herbst.
All right, that is
Oh,
that is
man.
more
Is he a
outlandish.
but is he full time or
He is
Yeah.
full-time.
He is
a
full-time,
chartered
sure.
car.
Hmm.
I'm really interested to see how
Who is he driving for again?
2311.
He's
So he
number
went from Ford to
35.
Toyota.
Yep.
Mhm.
Sponsored by Monster Energy and Chumba Casino.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Man.
These are
Jesus,
some
take
weird
the
lists.
What week is
wheel.
it going to be where there's going to be 3 Monster Energy cars on the track?
That is
Oh,
going to be
man.
really strange to see.
They need to get the different flavors so they can tell them apart.
Well, they are all slightly different because usually Riley, from what it looks like, has like the Monster Zero Sugar, and then Tyler Reddick has the Monster
Like
Spiked or
Beast,
whatever
Beast.
it's called.
Yeah,
Monster
Riddick
Beast.
was the one that I
Yeah.
wasn't thinking about.
And then, I mean, Ty Gibbs just has the boring old Monster. I just can't see. They need to just do something with that paint scheme, like all of them. I think they're just so boring and they have so much potential.
Yeah, they definitely do.
Oh
But-
no.
Those are some interesting lists, especially Johnny's. I think it's top of the radar. I'm gonna remember
I have
that
a
list.
runaway apparently.
I'm gonna call you out on that later in the season here.
I was just trying to get him like going,
Oh yeah, you got him going for sure.
like,
But also, just want to give a reminder to everyone that the BRB Racing League NASCAR Fantasy League is going to be starting up next week with Daytona. You can still join. Trying to think. Yeah, you can join up until the Daytona 500. Pick your drivers, normal fantasy league. If you don't know anything about fantasy league, read the rules. I'm not going to get into them. But the join link is in the Discord under the Fantasy NASCAR channel. And come join us for a fun season of that. I think last year our winner was
Carl. The
Yep.
only win he ever got.
So I was actually going to bring that up. Nick and Mason were giving me crap. I won fantasy, so suck it. All right.
You got your only win, so
My
you can
only
move
win.
on.
I got to take it when I can get them, right?
I had to, Carl.
But definitely. But with that out of the way, we did have the clash at Bowman Gray this past weekend. Man, that was exciting. Overall, the Jeff Gluck was at a good race poll, pulled the second highest at short tracks for the next gen car. The drivers talked a lot about tire wear actually being a factor. So that's good to see, especially at such a short track. You had to kind of save your tires a little bit and know when to push it and when not to push it. And then on top of that all, just the complete nonsense and tomfoolery that went on, especially during those heat races. That first heat race was insane.
The heat race or the last chance qualifier?
Well, that too.
Heat race.
I mean, the heat races and the last chance qualifier that last chance qualifier took forever.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it did.
You know, and I think it is refreshing. I understand and I appreciate what NASCAR was trying to do. Hey, let's bring the race to let's get new fans, and we saw it didn't really work. You brought Pitbull out here and all these artists, and they made a whole show of it, and those stands were half empty. Looking at Bowman Gray from the TV cameras, I didn't look like there was any place to sit. They moved it to a place that has history that people wanted to be there and wanted to see, and I think the fans got what they paid for. I was thoroughly impressed. I was hesitant, but it was the wider diameter track at the corners really allow these cars to make some moves, make some bumps, make some passes, and cause a little bit of chaos as we saw in the LCQ. The main event, it wasn't as exciting, but it had its moments, and I think overall, I think we had more racing in this weekend for the All-Star race than we did the 3 times we're at the Coliseum. So I'm actually liking this choice right now.
Yeah, I was definitely blown away by how exciting that race at Bowman Gray was. I was very skeptical when they announced it because I mean, I like the short track idea that they're trying to do. I mean, I'm still a hardcore fan of keep it at Daytona because it's just fantastic to kick off speed weeks at Daytona like that. But I do like what they're doing now. Bowman Gray really showed what these cars can do with short track racing, with tire wear finally being a thing with short tracks. So that's a fantastic thing to hear from the drivers. Heat race 1 was definitely Bowman Gray attitude, and it was awesome to see, especially Kyle Busch like getting a little irritated and just riding his bumper under caution. It wasn't even anything egregious. You're just kind of pushing around. That was it. It was a Haley, right? I believe. And
Yeah.
I thought it was so dumb when they came over and said Kyle Busch has been told by NASCAR to chill out. I'm like, why? It's Bowman Gray. Let him do it. Who cares? So, and then Heat 2 and 3 was very calm and collected. And then I think Heat 4, is that where Ty Gibbs decided to ramp his car, or was that in the
That was LCQ.
was the LCQ? Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was insane. I'm like, oh my God, there's Bowman Gray attitude right there. But even the feature, I mean, I was expecting a little bit more caution like we saw with the modified race. But no, they did a good job for the most part, driving really respectful. I mean, it was a lot of really good racing. The drivers drove that track extremely well, and you could tell that they knew how to use the chrome horn very well and very safely, I guess you could say, to get someone a little bit squirrely and get them out of the way so they can make the pass. It was awesome to see, and honestly, I'm kind of looking forward to them to bringing that to the service.
And Johnny, you had a different perspective because, if I'm not mistaken, you were actually there at Bowman Gray, correct?
Yeah, I was there Saturday.
Saturday.
I didn't go Sunday because it was so late. They started the main at like 8:30, and I'm an hour away from Bowman Gray, and I just didn't feel like spending that kind of money and being that far out on a Sunday, having to go to the work the next morning. But yeah, I was there Saturday, and it was packed to be watching a modified, watching a practice, and I didn't even stay for the heat races. We ended
Oh,
up
no?
going down. Yeah, we ended up going down to a local kind of pub down in Winston-Salem and watching it on TV. I had tickets, just decided to go and play pool and watch it on TV, and I was like, oh God, this was horrible. This is a bad idea. I need to be there. And yeah, just the modifieds, that's awesome. Like they get down, they move each other. I mean, there was bumpers all the way up into the breathers of those modifieds. Those guys moving each other out the way, and they're cutting through the infield, coming back and showing retaliation, and like I said, people want to see these westerns. You know, they like western movies. Like we want to see the fights. You know.
Yeah, we want to see the unedited drama unfold for sure. Was that your first time at Bowman Gray?
Yep. Yep. I didn't realize how close it was. It's right up 85. Just take the interstate, pop off, and boom, you're there. You know, it. I'm assuming it would be a lot easier to get in without the Cup Series being there. I mean, we had to park a mile away and get shuttled in because of the Cup Series. But I think on a normal modified race weekend, the parking lots are pretty close, and you could just walk right in. I think where the merchandise haulers were is where you park, which is you just cross the street. So
But overall, experience and atmosphere, would you go back?
yeah, there's no bad seat in the house. I mean, the cheaper tickets were on the back stretch, and it's
The
you're,
same as the front stretch.
yeah, I was on the second row. I had one, a couple people in front of me. You just stand up on your seat and boom, they're there. You know, I don't know if they obviously they put the catch fence up. So when the catch fence kind of bent, when the top of the catch fence is, it's kind of hard to see. So you gotta kind of like bend down. But are they keeping the catch fence?
They already removed it.
So they're removing the catch fence, but they're
Yep.
keeping the safer barrier? Is that what it
Correct.
is?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so it'll be amazing.
Yep, definitely. I guess that was probably just more of a NASCAR thing of them worried about those massive cup cars getting into the stands one way or another, which I guess makes sense. Better safe than sorry. But I'm sure it must have been a really cool experience it's a track like no other, of how close you are from the fans' perspective. They showed it a lot on TV, especially in the corners. Is that coming out of four? Yeah, going into three and coming out of four, where the stands go right up to the safer barrier, and
Yep.
you can basically touch the cars if there wasn't a fence there.
I was sitting off of turn 2, and if I looked down, I was seeing turn 4, and it was like those. I would imagine those seats would sell out because it's like you're over the catch fence and you're looking down on top of the cars, and
That's so unique.
I was like, I will buy those tickets next time I come.
Well, my understanding is it's normally general admission, Bowman Gray, and they made a big deal about it for those that watched on TV of like the locals that go to these tracks, like everyone knows where they sit, and it's like
Mhm.
kind of expected, like that's my spot, that's been my family's spot for 30, 40, 50 years. Like you're not taking my spot. I found that really interesting dynamic of a local track.
Yeah, I mean that was, I mean, if you watched, I think it was like a 4 or 5 chapter mini series before it started. It was really interesting to watch it. It was really cool. But yeah, there's people, I guess they basically kind of fight people over their seats if an outsider kind of takes their family's, spot they've been sitting at literally every single weekend for decades. So NASCAR did a good job. They sold, I think, 40% of the tickets they said were sold to the locals only, and then the other 60 were put up for anybody to buy. And it looked like it was just a sellout crowd. That the crowd looked awesome, and you could tell the Bowman Gray attitude even from the fans. They were showing their displeasure with a lot of drivers as they were driving by. It was that's definitely got to be an experience to go see, and it makes me kind of want to go out to Winston-Salem and watch a race there at Bowman Gray.
I mean, not only the fans, but the drivers themselves. I mean, yeah, the fans are close to the cars, but the cars are close to the fans. The drivers are close to the fans. You actually can see those middle fingers pointing at you at Bowman Gray. Because I know a couple of the camera shots, they were showing a lot of middle fingers, especially towards Ricky Stenhouse with that incident with the local hero there. So I think it was just an overall very interesting experience to be a part of on either side, just because you are right there. I can only imagine how a couple of those wrecks are. Hey, I'm stuck up here against the outside wall, and I'm just looking at this kid 10 feet from me, giving me the thumbs down because I just spun out. So I think that'd be kind of funny to see and experience too.
Definitely unique. And NASCAR just posted earlier today the TV ratings from Bowman Gray compared to last year. So the Clash this year had an average of 3.08 million fans, watching. This is the main specifically, compared to last year at LA. However, take this with a grain of salt because the Coliseum last year had the rain situation where they had to move the race up, and it was changed from regular Fox to FS1, so cable TV as opposed to TV that everyone has access to, which received half the viewers last year at 1.5 million. So this year there were 2 times more viewers watching the Clash than there were last year, which is really interesting. And I think it showed a lot of people across the country of what grassroots racing is like, in that area specifically. So, what are y'all's thoughts of? Do you think NASCAR is going to do this again next year? Would you rather them go to other local short tracks? Maybe.
I think a 2-race situation would be kind of perfect. It's the first go around, it's just like amazing, spectacular. It's brand new, and then the second go around, the teams has kind of figured it out. Maybe I think Junior said something about moving it to the All-Star race because of like the money situation, $1 million on the line. Boy, I
You
would
get put in
yeah.
close contact like that for $1 million.
You're not winning that one.
No, I can guarantee
I don't want to
that.
be in the lead for the last lap for that race.
Done.
Yep.
Oh, but I think it needs to happen again because I think what I really liked about it is they had the heats, the LCQ, and the main. There wasn't a halftime show. There wasn't a concert. There wasn't fireworks or glitter or whatever. Just whatever confetti. I like it was all about the racing. Oh, we're not going to sign this cool artist to make sure people watch. No, people wanted to watch because it was cars and it was Bowman Gray, and I think that helped NASCAR in this stage.
And I think the good thing about going to a local track like that, and they had covered it also during that little pre-show, that when NASCAR comes to a show like a track like Bowman Gray, a lot of those upgrades they got to keep for that track. So that's going to help them put on, even a better show or even safety, things for the track. So I mean, NASCAR coming in, they're dumping all this money into a local track to help their weekly racing out every weekend. And also, it's great for that local economy because that's bumping up, attention to that area. So I think Johnny said it great. I think a 2-race event, 2 years in a row. Maybe Junior even said we can continue this later and maybe have it as an all-star race even. But yeah, do 2 races here maybe. And I think, God, who was it? I was seeing someone talk about it. They were talking about maybe Hickory having a race at Hickory Motor Speedway. It was on the broadcast as well. So but yeah, I think NASCAR going to these grassroots short track races is going to be beneficial to not only NASCAR and getting basically the attention that they used to have with how racing should be again, but it's also going to be helping these local economies and that local track to help draw more attention to that track for either their local races for spectators or even to bring in more competitors for the racing itself.
I think an interesting point to note there is not that NASCAR isn't doing this out of the goodness of their heart of upgrading the track and upgrading the lights and everything that they did. However, NASCAR does own Bowman Gray. So, I mean, they're kind of helping themselves and finding a situation for them to upgrade a track and obviously get more eyeballs on it, because I can promise you if Bowman Gray wasn't already a sellout each week, it's going to have even more attendance each week now that a lot of people know about it.
And of course, NASCAR isn't a charity. I heard them on the broadcast talking about it. A lot, if not all, of that safety barrier actually came from Auto Club Speedway.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like we're doing all this. No, they're recycling some pieces here. And I think it kind of makes it good because they got, obviously, Auto Clubs tore down. It's no longer a thing, but it's nice to have that piece of that one great track, still being used, I guess, and utilized.
Definitely so. What other NASCAR things shall we touch on, John?
Oh man, I swear I saw something earlier today and then I blanked it. That's it.
Great point. I don't want to get into Daytona necessarily talk until next week. But Robert in our ear brought up a really good one. The NASCAR announced that the fastest lap of the race will be awarded a bonus point. and it is point. I think it's like the Xfinity fastest lap point or
Yep.
something like that.
Mhm.
My initial thought is I don't love it. I think it's a cool concept, and I guess maybe it will push people to get a faster lap, but I don't know. I guess I'm a traditionalist on it, and don't think that should be awarded a point.
See, I mean, I think it should, just because everyone wants to go fast, and you have now that you have stage points, so you break up the race itself. So you have the stage points too, instead of relating the whole race or waiting in the back and doing the front. You have that, but now you have a car that say may not be able to lead, but in traffic, say Richard, even though he finished outside the top 10, got that fastest lap on lap 8 of all laps. I think that is worthy of a point, just because in the grand scheme of things, you want to be the fastest guy. So if you put the fastest lap all race on the track, I think that's worth an accolade of some kind.
I don't know. Next thing you know, NASCAR is going to start giving bonus points to people that don't touch another car through the whole race.
Huh. Well, I
Hey,
don't
I'll
think
take points for
that
zero
will
X in a
happen.
race. I'm okay with
Jesus
that.
Christ, of course. I don't think that would happen. I mean, we've kind of experienced that in another league's season, and that was
Gavin Gay
fun.
walking
Gavin
some
getting
points.
snuffed a point almost. You're welcome for getting you that point, by the way. But no, I think this is actually a really good addition. I know it seems kind of minor, but I mean, you're going to have drivers that are going to be looking for those one extra points or that one extra point every race. And that's going to make these drivers want to race faster, race harder, try and get that fastest lap to get that extra point. Because, I mean, in the end of at the end of the day, trying to get into the playoffs is your ultimate goal, and every point matters. So I think should and hopefully will bring in some fantastic speed from all the teams all race long instead of just kind of, I won't say puttering around, but just kind of being a little bit more cautious.
Well, and of course, like Talladega, Daytona, those places are easy for, say, one of those underfunded teams to get an extra point because they are in the draft utilizing the slipstream. I like it. I honestly really like it.
Especially at the super speedways, it's just a random car that's going to get that extra point because they're stuck in the back, just maybe even trying to go for that extra point of I'm going to get in line with a couple guys here, back off a little bit, and then get going to get a run to get the fastest lap. To me, it's like
But how many times have we seen this where 1 or 2 points is the difference between advancing to the playoffs and having to sit out, or getting into the next round? I like it because what if you have a driver saying, okay, let's take out the trim or do whatever they can in Daytona because they don't have the shot at the win, get the fastest lap point, so they get that point even though they don't win. I don't know. I think it adds a little more strategy in the long term, in the long goal of the season. You have
I'm not
36 opportunities
discrediting
for
that
this lap, for this point. There's
the
36
point
points at
isn't
stake.
important. And I guess 26 in the regular season. I just think it's a little gimmicky, and it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I don't know.
See,
I'm more the mindset
think
that it matters where you finish the race, and it matters if you led a lap or led the most laps.
see, why didn't this news come out before the removal of the rookie stripes? See,
Yeah.
I think this makes more sense than removing the rookie stripes.
I mean, maybe,
It's
but not
cost
by
saving.
much. Make the cars battle for the fastest lap. We're saving money.
Are they though?
I don't know. No.
Did they give out like a Rookie of the Year award last season, or
Yeah,
Mhm.
they do Rookie of the Year still.
It was
Hmm.
it was that one guy.
Ooh, there's
That one guy.
Wow.
Hmm.
I don't even remember who was rookie last year, if I'm being honest.
I don't either.
Was it Zane Smith, Carson Hocevar? It was Carson Hocevar, wasn't it?
Sounds about right.
It might have been actually.
It must have been.
I don't know how many rookies there were last season. I don't think there
It
were
was like
many.
Josh Berry, Carson Hocevar, Zane Smith.
and now you really won't know.
Yeah,
I think it's
exactly.
a less of a talking point for, if you see that car entering the corner and you just see the back of the car and it's like, oh, and that's rookie Zane Smith.
Hmm.
It's more of like, oh, that's Zane Smith.
Oh man,
Oh,
even
Carson Hocevar did win Rookie of the Year last
There
year.
you go. I mean, he
Dude,
didn't have much of a battle.
even the broadcasters on the race, they were even like, I don't like not having the rookie stripes. They were
It's
not happy
tradition,
about
they
that.
said.
It's one of those things we'll eventually forget about. It just still doesn't make sense of like even why it was even important to remove it.
Yeah.
But whatever. It's kind of like, in a way, it reminds me of when they changed the number location. I know people are probably a little harder on that. Um, and I think we see a benefit to it, to a degree of it, why it is where it is now. It allows a bigger sponsor on the side of the car and stuff like that. And I think a lot of people enjoy it now. I don't necessarily see the rookie stripe becoming that though.
No.
But that's neither here nor there. I did see NASCAR added like an update in the in the rule book to the OEM penalty situation. Trying to think of the actual wording. They clarified the wording for the OEM manipulation rules, and actually wrote out quote unquote performance obligations that the OEMs have, and specifically what those penalties entail. I'm not going to go into it because honestly, there's a couple layers of what it could be. They could lose wind tunnel time, they can lose money, they can lose points, etc., etc. But they actually put it in the rule book and defined what those penalties and situations are, I guess, a little bit more to limit the gray area of what is race manipulation, or now it's called performance obligation, versus what is not a performance obligation.
Interesting.
So I do recommend looking into it a little bit if you're interested, but it is a little.
But I
tedious.
mean, like almost everything NASCAR does, we're not going to really know how they enforce it until they come into a situation where they need to enforce it.
Exactly.
Correct. And especially in those scenarios, it's always very difficult. I did think I heard somewhere of like they're in those scenarios, they're not just going to suspend the crew chief or spotter immediately like they used to, because they're like, it's not their fault. It might be a deeper level, but again, Spingate 2025 at Darlington.
You know what? They should take away a set of tires.
Oh,
Ooh.
There you go. You want to save money?
Hey,
All right,
yeah,
here's your
I was gonna say,
penalty.
that's
No
saving them
tires for
money.
you.
Give them no
Help
half
them.
repairs.
Make them buy extra sets of tires, and they can't
There
use them.
you go.
With the leftover stock Goodyear had.
We have some scuffs from last year. Will that work?
Oh boy.
That was the thing when we were at Myrtle Beach, like the tire shed. They issue your set of tires,
hmm
and we always like it was an obvious thing to where certain people would get newer dated tires, and
Really?
yeah, because we would pay like you'd have to pay $600 for a set of tires. Or you get two tires. You get two tires, and then you run those, and then you take your old sets and put them on the left sides, and then the next week you would get two new tires,
That's crazy.
and that's how it
That's
went.
intense.
Yeah.
600
For
bucks for two
$600?
tires.
Jesus.
Dang.
Yep. Florence was 400.
Oh. I mean, I
I
know
like
these
my
Cup Car
sim.
tires are even more expensive.
Yeah.
Oh man, that is interesting.
Yeah, that's actually cheap compared to cart tires. Cart tires, you buy two cases a month, and they're $670 a month, or a $670 a case with no left fronts.
What
Left fronts don't wear on our go
at
karts.
all?
No, we run so much cross that the left front is actually off the ground through the corner.
Oh wow.
Yep, because we don't have
So interesting.
suspension.
Hey,
We
that's
just
money
have
saving.
yeah,
Maybe NASCAR should do that with the Cup cars.
yeah,
Just have two tires on the ground.
3.
Fine. Nah, the Cup cars only need two. I don't know. Any more NASCAR news, excluding Daytona 500 talk?
Besides in 2026, Xfinity will no longer be the title sponsor for the National Series,
Xfinity
basically.
Series.
Yeah, that
There's-
is unfortunate.
I seen a couple pictures of Bush. Like, come on, Bush.
I know. Here's your chance. Bring
Yeah.
NASCAR back.
Come
Oh
back.
man, if we have the
Like-
Busch series and we have the Craftsman series already back, like
You
We're
know,
back.
I didn't even think about that. That might be a good like a good sell point for Bush. Like, hey, look, or for NASCAR to be like, hey Bush, come on back. Like, we need you.
and we'll get Nextel back.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Joking.
Wow.
Oh, man.
I guess.
Yeah, when they
I don't know,
changed
you
it
need
to
something to replace
Xfinity, it was like,
Winston.
what?
A fever
Yeah.
dream.
I don't know. Even nationwide is still a fever dream
It's
to
on
me.
your side.
Yeah, like
I
it-
forgot about the Nationwide series.
exactly. It was
Damn.
a very weird time when it went to nationwide. I feel.
That was
but I
only
don't
for
know.
like a couple of years.
Couple need to sell their naming rights to a more new age version of Winston. So I guess like Zen or
The Zen Cup series.
Or the Zone or whatever Kyle Busch
Yeah.
has.
Well, and I think Ty Gibbs also has some sort of nicotine sponsor, or not Ty Gibbs. Sorry, that wouldn't make sense.
Yeah,
Ty Dillon.
Should we guess? I mean, put in our
Put in our thoughts who's
Put in
going to
our
replace
thoughts.
Xfinity.
yeah. I don't know if
I'm-
they have enough money, but I would say Spectrum.
Yeah, I hope not,
Yeah.
because nothing's fast about Spectrum.
No, the customer service sucks, but
Mm-hmm.
Actual service is terrible.
I mean, I have their phone service, and they're not
I'm
not
sorry.
terrible. Well, clearly you see it.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks a little grainy to me.
Yeah.
I think I would love to see Bush back in, and I feel like that would be a great fit. Just trying to think of other like big partners of NASCAR. Like I don't see Coca-Cola doing it. Bush makes a lot of sense. Geico's leaving. Maybe Red Bull. I know Monster has a lot into it, but maybe Red Bull with them coming with
Maybe
SVG,
not.
and I know
Well,
that Zilich
to
wouldn't
be-
necessarily be there, but
To be fair, Red Bull really came along because of SVG. I don't see Red Bull doing much else with NASCAR besides SVG
Yeah.
and Connor Zilich. To
I
be
would
they
honest,
got-
agree.
Like a one paint scheme.
Yeah, they're
You
one
know?
for Zilich and 5 races for SVG. I think Red Bull's doing.
Yeah, something like that.
So yeah, very limited, but maybe they're just testing the waters and seeing.
Ally.
I could see that.
the Ally
I
Cup
don't think
series.
I don't think that rolls off the tongue. It doesn't feel right. What about the
Yeah.
Sundance Pizza Cup series?
Sundance Pizza Cup series.
Yeah.
Oh,
Or
that
the
would
Rev
make the
Sim
Rogers
Shops Cup
family
series?
super happy.
There you go.
The Rev Sim.
I mean, it's hard because we're seeing all of these sponsors leaving the sport. So it's hard for
Yeah.
anyone to just say, hey, we're going to come out and do this because they're trying to get away from, alcohol and nicotine and all those products. They don't want them to be the face of the sport, but that's where the money is. Like, you have to, well, what do you want? Do you want to be a greedy, corporation, or do you want to save face? Like, you got to pick one here.
What I didn't realize is I'm looking at NASCAR's premier partner list now, and Geico is officially off the website because it is no longer the Geico Restart Zone.
Wow.
That is
Is there
gone.
a sponsor for that or no?
I don't know what they might replace it with. I know Credit One was a big one for the white flag. Maybe Credit One Cup Series.
National Debt Relief Restart
Oh,
Zone?
No, they're only getting 4 races. They're not doing anything. But NASCAR does only have 3 premier partners now with Busch Light, Coca-Cola, and Xfinity, who is leaving after this season. Or, well, at least for the Xfinity series. We don't know.
Mhm. As a
what-
Yeah,
premier.
you might keep the
yeah.
Xfinity extra point or the Xfinity fastest lap point.
Right. Like, that makes sense to scale down that way. I'm sure it's really expensive for them to be the title sponsor for a series.
I mean, especially when NASCAR pockets everything.
Like, it's really interesting. I mean, there's a bunch of sponsors. Maybe even an OEM takes it over. I don't know, but then that still wouldn't make sense because there's other OEMs.
Yeah, the NASCAR Cadillac Cup Series.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's a ride in the park.
I just don't want it to go back to like Monster Energy. Monster Energy Cup Series I thought was like
It was the weirdest
worst.
thing.
It was just it did not feel right. What about like Sunoco?
I mean, see, that would kind of make sense.
Hey, they had a Sunoco Cup series in iRacing.
That is
Hey.
true.
No, seriously, Sunoco actually sponsored a Cup
Mhm.
series. It was a league race like league like we do,
Mhm.
but it was actually called the Sunoco Cup series.
There you go. What about the
That's pretty
iRacing
big.
series?
I doubt Steve Myers would do that. That's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, but I
But
mean,
think about the exposure you're going to get
you've
out
got
there
a good
too.
relationship.
I mean, they already have the exposure.
Yeah.
They already have iRacing at the races.
I don't. Well,
They are the
okay,
official simulation partner.
okay. Talk to one guy who's been to one race in forever, ever. You can't just say, "Oh, they're at the races." You got to go to the TV. You got to put it out there on the TV because they don't talk about that at
Wow.
all on TV. So I think yes, you may be at the races, but there's no exposure for it over the waves.
No, they have iRacing branding and sponsorships on the NASCAR races.
I
They are
guess
an
I need to
official
pay
partner.
attention more during the commercials
It's
because
not
that's where I
much.
tune
It's,
out.
it's not commercials. It's actually on like their ticker board and stuff. iRacing will pop up above the ticker board.
Oh man, I guess I don't pay attention.
You need to pay more attention. I think just the one that makes the most sense is Busch, just with their involvement in NASCAR. So I think that would make everyone happy. We're seeing a return to NASCAR when it was the NASCAR we know and love.
Yeah.
North Wilkesboro,
Yep.
Rockingham,
Yeah, oh man, Rockingham!
Oh,
I'm so excited.
Rockingham.
I am going to get tickets for
yep,
that Xfinity
Casey
race.
Canes coming
Imagine the
back.
Milwaukee Mile coming back also.
No, don't need that. Just give me Rockingham. I'm happy.
Actually,
hold on,
I
time
think
out,
I'd
time out.
rather see Milwaukee Mile over Rockingham.
Or would you rather see
Kentucky.
Milwaukee Mile over New Hampshire?
Milwaukee Mile over New Hampshire.
It doesn't matter. They both suck.
They both suck.
At least
Hey, I like
Milwaukee
New
has a
Hampshire.
wall, an inside wall that you can hit.
I like New Hampshire. Just saying.
Oh, I wonder why.
Terrible track.
See, Richard wants Bowman Gray on there so he can get another flat track win.
I've got one flat
Our-
track win, okay? That's it. What is
Got
going
one
on
win.
here?
IRP's coming up.
Yeah, huh?
Did you run
Yeah.
that test race?
Yeah,
A lot of people did.
It's not
I don't
fun.
even remember how the test went.
Not fantastic.
Oh, I was looking up some data on that. There's only like 5 of us there.
Really?
Yeah.
Who won?
I think Gavin.
Oh well. Guess I'm not too surprised about that.
Yeah.
How'd you pull up that data?
I was messing
Is it
around. I think we
Carl
were
and it's
going.
just Tism?
That's the thing is, I was curious. Like, man, I have this Garage 61. I wonder if I have this, and it showed me all my races up to like 2 years ago. I'm like, this is interesting. I spent a lot of time on pit road at the end of the race, so I think it fell apart for me.
Oh boy. Well, I don't really have anything else. If y'all want to get this wrapped up, we've been going a while, and it's getting pretty late for
Oh,
for
it is
work
almost
day.
midnight. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, Robert.
Well,
Ugh.
Johnny, thank you for joining us this week. It was good to have you on. Good to see you back in Victory Lane.
Yeah, fun.
One limitless driver. I think most people don't have quarrels with. But I want to give a quick shout out to all of our sponsors. Obviously, Butt Kicker, Leader in Haptics, Sundance Pizza, Ideal Lease, Sundance Trucks, RevSimShop.com, Advanced GG, and Richard. That promo code is what again?
WolfX Live 10, and all proceeds we make from your sales go directly back into the league.
Yes, thank you, Richard. And be sure to like our socials on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. BRB Racing League. Give us a follow and stay up to date with all the news, all the races, etc., etc. Next week we are at Daytona for the Gilbert Trucking 250? I believe that is the name. So tune in to Pit Stop TV on February 11th at 9 p.m. Eastern for that race, and then we will be down to 2 races until the chase after that. But no, thank you guys for joining. Big shout out to Robert Moyer for producing the back end of this and making us look pretty in what we do. But without further ado, let's close it out.
It is the Gilbert Fleet and Commercial 250, so we'll close it out. But let's go. Buckle it up.
Buckle it up.
Buckle it up.
or
Or
you'll
You'll
die.
die.
Thank you.
We're
I'll keep
nerds.
on next week.